Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Game 5, Cancon 2019, first Grand Slam of the year. 200 Age of Sigmar players pushing some war dollies around tables and absolutely destroying it. Now, you may notice that to my right is someone significantly better looking than Rob. And it's not hard.
It's not hard.
I know. He's beautiful on the inside.
Yeah,
in
that's
the places
what counts.
that counts. Yeah,
that's
right.
What counts.
We're just beautiful people on the outside.
Well, I was going to say everywhere.
So this is Gemma. Gemma is one of the amazingly talented Chaos players in Australia, and she's going to be helping us call this game. Because today we have, in Game 5, on the top table, a Nurgle list playing off against Daughters of Cain. It's wicked. We will run through the lists real shortly, but it's going to be a big one. It's knife to the heart, which means that there's auto finishes. Gemma, what are you expecting?
Oh, well, how can I say that Nurgle aren't going to win? Like, I'm just vouching.
It's real easy because they're going to get stabbed so much by so many Daughters of Cain.
Oh, they're going to take over the table.
Yeah.
It's a bigger ask, I think, but they're going to do it. They're going to do it.
And I guess like Daughters might have all those stabs, but it don't mean squat if they can't hit anything.
That's exactly right. They're not going to hit anything, and then we're going to roll some disgustingly resilient saves and just.
And if there's one thing that Nurgle likes, it's making you re-roll shit to hit and wound them.
Yep.
But just for a quick update of what's going on around the rest of the tournament, we're going to cross to the man who's bound by Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, the ever beautiful Dan from AOS Shorts. Dan?
Hey guys, thank you for the intro. Right, this is where we are on the top 10 tables of round 5. Top table is the man, the German sensation, Cancon, that you would have seen in the last game. His KO is taking on Eddie with his Hagnar list. So they're on table 1. Table 2 is Matt Cramble with his Gore Pilgrims list versus Ryan Kirby with Warherds. Another sensation for Australia. Warherd list, table 2, 4 major victories. What is happening, Australia? Table 3 is Ashley with his Nighthaunt against Lee with his Sylvaneth Winterlive. Table 4 is Michael Thompson with his Grand Host of Nagash and 50 Reapers versus last year's champion Adam Burt with his Stormcast Eternals. Lost his first, only got a minor in his first game, but is rising. Game 5 is the one that we're going to have on the stream to my left. We've got the Thricefold Battalion versus Daughters on table 5. Table 6 is Nick Cohen with his Grand Host of Nagash versus Reese's Legion of Asgore. Rob is a very happy man that Legion of Asgore is on table 6. And not only is Legion of Asgore on table 6, it's also on table 7. So table 7 is Tim with his Legions of Asgore versus Charles Black with his Dreadwood. We can see if the stunty dwarfs are going to survive the Dreadwood. Table 8 is Dino Matthews with Mixed Destruction. Mixed Destruction on table 8 versus Ethan McDonald with all the eels in the world. Table 9 is James Morehouse with his Phoenix Temple. He got a last round, which has dropped him down. He's going against Joel McGuire of Measured Gaming and his Beasts. And table 10, we have Cameron with the Futhan in the Eels mirror match. He's only got 9 eels. Kent has got 18 eels in the reverse tides. So that's the Deepkin mirror match for table 10. So those are the tables that I'm going to keep you on updated through the game. I'm now going to hand you over to table on the stream, table 5. Let's get into it, guys. See you later.
All right, and we're back. Thank you so much. It's lovely to see that you're still operating in this heat. I know a lot of operating systems aren't designed to deal with an Australian level of temperature, but obviously the silicon chips in him are still functioning. So what we're looking at is the table, knife to the heart. Just to give you a quick update, Jesse, the Daughters of Cain player, won the roll-off and decided to take the top side. There are 4 pieces of mystical terrain on the table, which means that he's pretty stoked about that. He's going to be getting his 5-up saves from Hagnar, and then he's also going to be getting that mystical save as well. So he's happy as a pig in shit right now. The tree is right in the middle here. We'll just give you a cheeky little look. That's the tree right there. So obviously planted, growing in a nice patch of filth, encrusted, I'm guessing something.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, of course. And so, Gemma, the reason you're here is obviously because you're one of Australia's premier Nurgle players.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
I'm guessing that probably means you have a rough idea of what this list is going to do?
I hope so. Yeah,
okay.
So we'll go through, we'll run through.
Yeah, we'll have a cheeky look at the lists. Guys in the chat, just knowing the allegiances that we're looking at, Daughters of Cain versus Maggotkin playing Knife to the Heart, what are you expecting to be the one? It's amazing Dan can operate with crap Wi-Fi. Oh yeah, no, he's on a LAN server. He's just directly hooked up to every other player at the tournament. So we're going to have a quick poke through this Daughters of Cain list first, and just to start off, it's the OG Hagnar, the one that everybody loves, because it means that if those units are within 7 inches of the general, they have you got a Slaughter Queen on Cauldron of Blood. That's the general, obviously, and has all those lovely, lovely abilities. Taken Devoted Disciple as the command trait, of course, to get that 5-inch save, and to reroll all failed hits instead of only ones, and then Artifact up with the Iron Circlet, which is re-rolling 1 for prayers. That's pretty stock.
Yeah, it's pretty stock. It's quite aggressive. He really wants to get in there.
Yeah, I haven't met a defensive Daughters of Cain player.
Me either.
Yeah, no, they're the kind of people that like to end the game like turn 2.
Yes.
Whether that's because they're lazy or they're natural sprinters, who knows?
Who knows?
But, yeah, you don't often see them go right through to game 5. Also then packing a Blood Rack Shrine with the Crystal Heart. That's so casting 2 spells, you roll a dice for the second spell, and on 1 it causes a mortal wound. And racking out with Mind Razor and Enfeebling Foe, which we'll get to when they happen. And what could any army be without 2 Hag Queens? The most bullshit, underpointed models in the game. Gemma, what are your thoughts on the Hag Queen?
Just disgusting. Like, they are just the worst models. I hate them so much.
Point for point, the most efficient models in the game.
That's why I hate them so much.
I know.
It's unfair.
I can despise them, don't get me wrong.
God.
And I mean, Jesse is a lovely man. I'm looking at him
Is he?
Just look at the cut of that jaw, look at that power stance, look at that sleeveless t-shirt. That's a man who knows what he's about. I just wish he wasn't about Hag Queens.
That's right. I was going to say, I lost a little bit of respect when I saw that he was playing this.
That's it. But let's look at the rest of this list. 2 Tens of Blood Sisters. That's awesome. You never see this many snakes. So 2 Tens of Blood Sisters, they're the combat sisters. They do mortal wounds with their 4-up attack, and then they've got a ton of 3x3 wounds, which is pretty rocking. 2 by Bloodstalkers, they're the shooty witch elves. They're not too bad. They're all right. They've got 6-up mortal wounds from their shooting. They're so-so in combat. But the big one, the damage dealers, usually come from the witch elves, coupled with sacrificial knives and bucklers, which gets them to reflect some damage, and the ones with paired knives. So they just put out a metric fuck ton of attacks. It's not nice.
Not nice.
No, not at all. And then the battalion, Rocketed Temple Nest, which is ones to hit against all of the snakes in the army. So every snake model, all 30 of those snakes, reflects a mortal wound back to the unit that dealt it. And then rounding it out with a Malevolent Maelstrom, I'm assuming just to shut down casting on his opponent's side of the board.
Yeah.
So now we'll flick over, we'll have a cheeky little look at that Nurgle list. Chopping back to quickly. So it looks like we're just still in deployment. I would imagine that we're going to see a lot of Plague Bearers going down on the table. Having a look at this list, let's have a look at the Nurgle list now while their boys are deploying. Now, Gemma, I'm a potato when it comes to Nurgle, so take it away.
Okay, so this list is very good, I have to say. It's quite familiar to me.
It's a special place in your heart.
It does hold a special place. Who doesn't love 3 big fat fellas running around the table? So we have at the top there, Great Unclean One. He's running a Plague Flail and a massive Bile Sword, so he's capable of getting into combat and dealing out quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, so that's going to be the combat one.
Yeah, that's
right?
the combat one.
Yeah.
So he does 3 damage with his Bile Sword and 2 damage with his Plague Flail. And he's also got Pestilent Breath, which is his trait, which I like as well. So that's good probably against hordes. Yep. So and this list is going to be a little bit harder to use. So that's basically a 6-inch range ability. You roll a dice for everything within that 6 inches, and on a 5+, it's a mortal wound.
Okay, that's all right.
So it's just a little bit extra damage.
Is that models or units?
There's models. Models within 6 inches.
See, that's not going to be fun for a lot of those like combat. Like all the models want to be in combat, and a third of them are dying. That's pretty freaking savage.
Good. The Endless Gift is a personal favourite of mine, so
really?
yeah, I use it all the time.
Yeah.
So basically, any wounds that Great Unclean One receives that turn, basically, in the battle shock phase, he rolls the same number of dice, and on a 4-up, he actually heals those wounds back.
Oh, so effectively every turn you're only doing half the wounds to the Great Unclean One.
That's correct.
And then it heals as well, right?
That's right. It does heal, and you've got the wheel that can heal as well.
Okay.
So.
But I noticed not taking the trait that allows him to reset the wheel as well. Yeah,
that's right.
So that means the wheel is going to stay what the wheel is.
Yeah.
And then the OG himself, the big boy.
Rodriguez, so his spell, everyone hates it. I love it. I think it's great. He just basically on a 7 rolls a number of dice that's just in his wounds characteristic there, and for every 4-up is a unit. It doesn't need a range, so he just line of sight. So he's like, you guys over there,
take some
30
more
inches
wounds.
away.
He's like Oprah. He's just like,
Yeah.
everybody get some more
yeah.
wounds. Okay, wicked.
So-
And they're obviously in the Thricefold Befoulment
They're
formation.
in the Thricefold, yeah. So that's really good. Now he's got 2 units of 30 Plague Bearers. They're going to be so hard to deal with.
Oh, God.
So they're going to be neg 2 in shooting
Yep.
and neg 1 in combat.
Yep. Great,
And the
good.
5 Putrid
Wonderful.
Vikings are going to be just roaming around the table, dealing out
Yeah.
some damage on 6s, hopefully.
Yeah, also, I guess they got a decent save. They got a fair number of wounds.
They're resilient in their own way,
They're
so they
probably-
don't get an extra save, but they do have 4 wounds for the normal guy, and the leader has 5.
Yeah, so it's a big wound unit for 160 points.
That's right, yeah. Personal favourite there as well.
And he's packing a spell portal.
Yes, so the spell portal is quite dangerous when used with the Plague Wind spell.
Oh, of course, because that's a line from where it's cast. Okay, so
Yeah.
he could effectively be.
He's got a 32-inch threat range, I
Yeah,
believe.
that's nothing to be sniffed at.
No, so if I feel if the deployment is not good on Jesse's side, he might potentially be able to pick off some of his heroes
Yeah.
with that spell. So we'll see what happens.
Wow, and of course, what Nurgle Army wouldn't be complete without the worst artifact ever to exist that everybody despises but Nurgle loves. The Witherstaff.
Yeah. Yeah, so that guy there, he's going to be rolling around. He's got a 12-inch range. Every unit within there that rolls a 6 to hit will have to re-roll that 6. So I love that.
That's just, man, especially.
It's painful.
It's also rough on Jesse's Daughters of Cain because he has a number of abilities that do mortal wounds on a
On
6.
6s.
So that's going to really mess him up.
Yeah. I would love to see that shut them down a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
That will definitely shut them down. I got to say that I'm interested to see this matchup. So if we go back to the table, so obviously it's knife to the heart, which
Yes.
means if you control both your home objective and your opponent's objective from turn
3?
You automatically win the game.
That's right, yeah.
Now, I think the trick here is going to be Ben with the Maggotkin. He's going to struggle to choose which unit to leave back because he maybe chooses to leave the Blight Kings back there. There are only 5 models. They're going to be relatively easy to shift if a concerted effort gets made against them. But if he drops one of those 30s of Plague Bearers back, that's a huge amount off his line.
Oh, it is a huge amount off his line, but it's probably one of the better units to do that with, just because they're so resilient.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to chew through 30 wounds, but then they're going to have a disgustingly resilient save as well. So that's going to make it a lot harder.
So Ben's kind of stuck in that position of going, do I leave a unit I know will hold this down hard, or do I leave a lighter unit that... Well, if I leave that harder unit on my home objective, that's taking a big strength out of my battle line to countering all the attacks those Witch Elves have.
Yeah.
Or do I leave a lighter unit, leave it a little bit lighter undefended, but more shut down the amount of attacks?
Yeah, it is going to be really hard because you can throw those Plague Bearers out there to make Jesse's life hard as well, because that's being quite offensive, I would say. So he can throw them out there and try and block them out, see if they can cut through that many wounds and that many disgustingly resilient saves. But we'll see what
they
he
can get through. Rage Howl, subscribing. Mate, I really enjoy that you like what you're hearing, and we'll keep bringing it into your sweet, sweet ear holes with our dulcet pipes of love. Now, Gemma, a couple of people finding out who you are for the first time, but then there's a lot of love for you. One of the best Nurgle players in Australia, obviously. And Flukesy chiming in, knife to the heart, a grinder army with a buttload of... I think a big question as well is how Jesse's going to protect his home objective. Because
I think he might have a bigger decision.
time deciding,
I think he's got a bigger decision to make.
he does have 2 5s of those Bloodstalkers who are the shooting snakes,
ones,
so he might decide to leave those back. Gemma, as in you are the failed charge on Twitter.
That's right, yes.
There we go.
One
So
of,
that's where you can find her in the social media pipes. So yeah, sound off in the comments who you think it's going to be. Money being on the Daughters of Cain. That's trying to provide unbiased commentary. However, if you did listen last game, I wasn't particularly supportive of the casting of anyone, and very supportive of the Hadron just shooting all of the casters in the throat hole. Now, a big thing with this game as well is going to be the Realmscape effect. Realmscape effect being life springs. which means that all of those, they get to pick a hero from their army and add 1 to the wound characteristic of that hero. Now, I'm guessing that's going to be Rodigus or maybe the general, because that's going to make it even harder. So yeah, I guess that's it. What are you thinking?
I'm just watching Ben deploy his Nurgle at the moment. It looks like he's basically got everything surrounded. The Blight Kings are deployed there at the back there.
It looks like that's the Blight Kings.
Yeah,
just
it does.
there.
Yeah. So if they are deployed, they're at the back.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting way of deploying.
Maybe. Do you think he's maybe worried about something coming?
I think he's definitely worried by getting those guys running across the table and just plowing into them. But he's got to be careful not to block himself out as well. So the guy with the Plague Flail and the Bile Sword, I wouldn't be afraid to use his damage as well.
Flick him up. They don't have a lot of chop back.
No, they don't. They're pretty terrible in combat. I would probably use them just as objective grabbers, to be honest, just because they're going to be so hard to get through.
Do they get any good if you put Blades of Putrefaction on them, or are they still kind of not that great?
They do, but in this list he won't be able to use that spell because that's from a mortal.
Of course.
These guys are all
he's only
demons.
got demons. Yep.
So I'm hoping the spells that he has, he's going to use to debuff the daughters.
I would say that would be the plan, right?
I think if he can debuff them and use the Wither Staff, he's going to be in a really good place. Because there is a spell called Favoured Poxes, which is neg 1 to hit, neg 1 to wound, and neg 1 to their save.
Oh, God.
So the big guy can't move after casting that, but that does put a lot of hurt on those Daughters of Cain, because not only are they going to be
that big until you put it on a Great Unclean one.
That's right, because their bases are quite large.
Massive. But also, if you think about 12 inches, that's if you've got a tight army, that's a 24-inch bubble. That's gigantic. That's a board tile, effectively. It's a sixth of the board.
And depending, I'm not sure where he started on the wheel as well. But these guys obviously know the spell that they can change that wheel to wherever they want, because they do cast 2 each. So I think that's why he's comfortable not having the Grandfather's Blessing as his command trait.
Now, knowing that obviously like a Nurgle army with a tree right there, also having the bell quite fast, can move across the board quite quickly. If you had the choice, which obviously Ben is going to have the choice who goes first and second, who do you take? Like, do you take it or do you give it first?
If you're in this position?
Yeah, what would you do for the Nurgle? Because he's going to get to choose. And
I would look at how the board's set up.
Yeah.
Because if he's made a mistake with his deployment and possibly has any of his small wounds characters out in the open, you could probably take advantage of that with the Plague Flail spell and pick them off.
And try
because
to
that also
flick
will
it through
hurt.
a spell portal
Yes,
and nuke those
because that'll
500.
also hurt the Daughters of Cain.
Yeah,
because they are relying on those small wound characters with their prayers.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like everyone says, kill the hag. Like that's, if you can pop those hags, the output of this army just absolutely plummets.
Yeah. So Rodigus has the spell Glorious Afflictions too, which I personally love.
Yeah.
So that basically, I'm pretty sure it has a 21-inch range, which is massive.
Yeah.
And that basically halves their move, run, and charge. And flying units no longer have the fly ability, so they can't just ignore terrain.
Yep.
Yeah, so that can possibly try and...
A whole lot of plague bearers there, possibly like close it out.
Yeah. The only thing I'm worried about here is these guys, because of their bases, how he's going to use them to get them around the table, because you can see here and here, they're not going to be able to fit through there by the looks.
They might have to walk up and down the side of the building.
Yeah, and if you do split them up, then the thricefold befoulment does lose a bit of its sting, so he's going to have to be a bit careful there.
I think he put that tree in the middle, and I think that might have been a bit of a mistake. Personally, if I was placing it, I would have popped it over here, just a little bit further to the side. Maybe down this corner or up this corner here, so that you've still got that middle, but you've left yourself a gap. He might have snooked himself and not left enough room for those big boys to fit through.
I'd be interested to see what his plan is with movement, because if you split those big guys up, it does.
That have taken. So pretty much the classics. Blessing of Cain, which lets him re-roll his ward saves. Catechism of Murder, which is exploding sixes to hit, giving additional hits. And Sacrament of Blood, which is advanced the turn a little bit, so for those Daughters of Cain army-wide abilities. So yeah, the one leaving out was Crimson Rejuvenation, which is the healing one. I'm guessing that he's assuming he's not going to need to heal against this list, that his things will either be completely dead or completely alive.
That's right, yeah.
Because I think this game is really going to come down to if he can shut down those three gigantic bloody
Great unclean
Great
ones.
unclean ones. That's the word for him, because the Plague Bearers won't really be an issue. He'll struggle to hit them, but they won't give him too much grief. However, those three big boys, if they can get up onto the board, they will do a whole lot of pain.
They will do a whole lot of pain. The guy with the bell and the dagger, he's going to probably be the most vulnerable one out of those if I had to choose, just because he's going to be the one that's going to give the +1 to his casting.
Yeah,
so he's going to be able to cast that Plague Winds, hopefully on a 6.
Yeah.
So he's going to be the one throwing out those mortal wounds.
Yep.
So I think it looks like in the picture, well, it's a bit hard to see now.
So I think he's just having a cheeky little measure,
Yeah.
just to
See where he can get the Plague Wind, maybe.
Yeah, to see if turn 1 he can Plague Wind across the board.
Yeah.
Now, which could all be spoiled if they manage to stop it. J. Berry Sif reckons you're right that if the Great Unclean Ones split up the table, they're going to get minced. So I'd assume, yeah, keeping them together is going to be the way to go. So yeah, the lists looks like they are now in there, which is wonderful, because Unicorn John has returned to us. I assume that means that he is probably drunk. Yeah, definitely drunk. Yeah, John, we're real worried about you, mate. If you just get back on the wagon? We love you, and we just want you to be healthy. And you know, like everyone, the whole team rocked up for day 2 of the tournament over here. So just up your game, I guess. P.S. I love you. So who's taking the first turn?
So Ben, the Nurgle player, has decided to take first turn.
Okay, so that little Plague Wind pre-measure, obviously pretty happy with how it
he
went.
must be pretty confident with that. He's also got 6 contagion points so far, so not enough to bring up another tree,
That's a
but
pretty
a
reasonable
good
amount,
start.
yeah.
It's a good start.
Yep. That must have been a big roll for the treat. Sorry, people wanting to know, is Rob dead? And the answer is no. Just he was chased off by a magpie earlier today.
Yeah.
He went outside to get some fresh air, because it's 1,000 wargamers in an aircraft hangar, 200 of which are playing Age of Sigmar. It's a great day for war dollies. Went outside with some chips and got chased off into the sunset by a whole bunch of hungry magpies and seagulls. So we're trying to get him back. We sent out a search party with a bunch of cups of tea to try and tempt him back out of hiding. But yeah, it's also because between us, I think Gemma is far superior at calling this Nurgle game than anyone else will be here. So that's a pretty big hit one.
Yeah, so he looks like he's going after one of the cauldron up the back there.
Yeah, I would assume that it's actually, I think that might be that's not the general, I think that's the Blood Rack Shrine.
Yeah, so it looked like he was pointing in this general direction.
So heading for the Blood Rack. Okay, that's interesting. I probably personally would have been focusing on the general to get rid of that re-rollable 5-up ward save. So it looks like it's gone off.
It does, yeah. The Plague Wind's gone off.
And it's going to come out like a breeze block of pain. I'm guessing straight up through here and just wreck everyone's day. Green, even just so that we know how disgusting it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be unpleasant. Oh no, maybe going out to... Oh yeah, no, there it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Trying to get as many units as he can there.
Yeah, that's tough. Especially if that's coupled with Rodriguez's spell. We could see the Hags go turn 1. And I tell you what, that's going to put a special little warm place in my heart.
So he has done 6 mortal wounds, but he is doing his own after save.
Okay, yeah.
He only takes 1.
No.
That is disappointing.
This is absolute rubbish.
That is disappointing.
Nerf the Hag Queen immediately. You heard it here first. That is just 6 mortal wounds done, all but 1 saved. That's not okay.
Not okay at all.
No, I'm
That's
hard.
hard.
People want to know how Robot Dan is doing. Robot Dan had a little glitch earlier and murdered a couple of people, but it's okay because he was smiling while he did it, so people were really forgiving. We've got him reprogrammed now, and he's finished playing Where's Wally, so we will have him back on the stream shortly.
All right.
Okay. What do we got going on? Let's get a
Sorry,
little update.
they've done 8 wounds on the witches, and he saved all of them but 3, so only 3 of them have died.
So far we've had 14 wounds done. Let's get him checked for... It's insane. They're unbelievably good at this. So hopefully a couple might go through. Otherwise, it's going to be a real rough day for those Daughters of Cain. For the Nurgle, if all of their damage doesn't actually end up doing anything.
Well, he's just done 4 wounds to some snake ladies.
Oh, that's good.
So,
Well, let's watch him save all of them.
yeah, let's do that.
So what do you think Jesse's going to play out of this? Because obviously Nurgle, they've got a bit of speed, but they're not going to cross the board to him this turn.
No. So I think at this point there hasn't been enough damage done.
Yeah.
So far, so Ben's just going to have to think about what he wants to do next.
Probably advance a little.
Table in his turn and do a fair bit of damage.
Yeah, so Dan Street is here. We're just going to get a cheeky, quick little update from the rest of the event, see how those top tables are doing, and we'll be back with the Nurgle movement phase in just a few minutes.
Hey guys, back on it now. So the top 10 tables have all finished deploying and have decided who's going to be taking first turn. And once again, it's an interesting mix of people that have deployed first and chosen to take it, and those that have given it away. So interesting to go through the rounds and see what the mix is like. So the mix is table 1. So Alex dropped first with his KO and gave it to the Daughters of Cain player Eddie. Eddie's not off to a good start. He's failed all his spells and his prayers. So he's going to have to hope for some better luck from there. Table 2, Ryan with his Warherds finished first, gave it away to Matt and his Gore Pilgrims list. Those Gore Pilgrims are starting to move across the board. Lee versus Nighthawk. Lee dropped first with his 2-drop Winterleaf. He took the first turn and is starting to move and do his redeploy with his Winterleafs, and Nagash in that matchup dropped first and decided to take the first turn against the Stormcast in that matchup. Table 5 you will have seen. Table 6, Nick Hohen with his Grand Host of Nagash against Legion of Asgore. He dropped first and gave it to Reese and the Legion of Asgore player. We'll see how much of that Legion of Asgore army's shooting is in range to do any damage in the first turn. Table 7, this is Charles with his Dreadwood. He, of course, took first turn, being the Alpha Strike. He's put a whole load of woods on the board. He's managed to sneak a wood on right in the Wilveneth, coming through to breach the Legion lines. We're going to have to see whether the Legion can hang on there. So that's table 7. Table 8 with the mixed destruction. Dino took first turn with that one. Table 9, Beasts of Chaos with Joel McGrath. He's got the 1 drop. He took it. He's pushed up the models across the board. He's put a bull to the face of a phoenix. That bull endless spell is out. And there's lots of beastmen moving across to hold up the Phoenix Temple. Table 10. This is the Ideneth mirror match in the last update. So Cameron, who's got turtle, sharks, and eels in his list, dropped first and gave the turn to Kent with his 18 eels. So that's the updates from the tables. That's where the deployment and choice of first turn has gone. The only last thing I'll give you an update on before we move on, you may remember the Scourge Privateers army that we had on the tables in the day yesterday. In the last round in Relocation Orb, the Scourge Privateers took off 60 Grimghast Reapers in a single turn. That is the damage a Scourge Privateers army can do. 60 Grimghast Reapers went down. Unfortunately for them, the orb bounced away and the Privateers got the loss in that one. So anyway, that's the update for the rounds. Now going to go back to the table and table 5. Cheers, guys.
And you're back. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the top tables of Cancon Claw to Glory 2019, the first Grand Slam of the year. 200 AOS War Dolly players here, smashing it out across the tables. And for you, Game 5, we have Daughters of Cain facing off against the Maggot Kin of Nurgle. With me on the desk is Gemma.
Close enough.
Near enough's good enough.
Yeah.
And fun fact for those in the chat, I actually know your mum.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, small world.
Yeah, I know.
Small
We're great mates.
Yeah.
I went to uni with her mum.
Yeah.
And so we were at a tournament, and I think we just met. And then your mum was taking some photos.
Yeah,
we were just like, oh, hey, how's it going? Ended up having a great yarn.
Yeah. So it was just like the best thing ever.
Yeah, so it's wonderful. It's like just all sides of things coming together. Like it's like a beautiful little community. And that's what War Dollies do.
Yeah, it brings everyone together.
Exactly, and that's kind of the coolest thing about being here, right? And I'm sure you've experienced it as well. There are so many people you've never met. but we all have this like shared language.
We do, yeah. It's like when motorbike riders cross each other, they always nod.
Yeah.
It's the same thing here.
Yeah,
Like, we
that's
all
it.
have this beautiful thing in common.
You ride past someone, doesn't matter whether you're on like some big old thing and they're on like a little pocket rocket, you're
Yeah.
still just like,
You have that respect.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. You see War Dolly players, you're like, I know you've got dice calluses.
Show us your hands.
I'm old. Jesus. Slen Ice. Come on, man. That's like, can we just, am I your father? How did this happen? I'm a beautiful young sprig of a man in his prime. And that's how I should say. So we'll just get a quick update from the table. What's going on?
Okay, so Rodriguez has unfortunately failed Deluge.
Yep.
He did get Mystic Shield off though, and the movement is, he looks like he's just pushed up a little bit.
Right.
He doesn't look like he's been aggressive, he looks like he's playing a very defensive game.
Yep.
I'm not sure whether he's going to be able to take the objective. Further on.
I think it's going to be hard for Ben to get through those Witch Elves, but the difference is, if every one of those Witch Elves that dies, it's not coming back.
No, that's
those
right.
Plague Bearers, kill a bunch of them, then number can be
Potential, yeah, to come
Now,
back. So we are in the daughter's turn one at the moment as well, and he has just cast Malevolent Maelstrom.
Okay, yeah.
So that is dangerous.
That's kind of savage, especially for shutting down all of the spells. Like effectively having an extra dispel against everything in the Noble Army.
Yep.
Just in case you can't see, the general is here at the very top. That's the general there. Let's try. And just next to it in this corner is one of those annoying 60-point hags. The other hag is chilling out of line of sight up in this back corner here. So we've got, which looks like someone with an angry face. If we want to do this a little picture there. That's what
That makes me a little bit happier. Just as a Nurgle player.
Yeah.
That has made me
It tickles
happy.
you a little
It
bit?
does.
Right.
It's excited me a little bit.
Yeah, because all you're doing is seeing Rodriguez and just being like, make it rain, baby.
Yeah. Well, I was a little bit upset that his deluge didn't go off because I was hoping that he would have been able to dish out some wounds. But where he has situated those hag wings, he has put them in they're not really in line of sight, so they're safe.
So it's a good move, and let's be honest, you know that they're going to be the first thing
Oh,
targeted.
yeah.
Now, from the table, also just in that cheeky little break, got a quick update. The wheel has actually started on Nauseous Revulsion. So which one's that?
I think from memory that might be 5? Number 5.
Yeah, and that's reroll something. That's the reroll one, right?
Yeah, I think it's the reroll one. I could be completely wrong because for some reason I'm having the biggest mental blank ever.
It's
awesome.
the one that like couples well with Wither Stave.
Yeah. It's the reroll wound rolls of a 6, which is really hard for me to say because I always go wee-roll.
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 When you go wee-roll your wound rolls, you willy won my bullet. So combining that with the Wither Stave is obviously pretty savage.
It's just magic because it really makes it hard for those guys because you're like, reroll 6s to hit please, and then they go, yep, and then you're like, oh, and wounds.
And because you're shooting at Plague Bearers, you're at -2 to hit, so you're only hitting me on 5s and 6s in the first place. It's a pretty savage combo.
Yeah. So he's still in his hero phase while it looks he hasn't moved anything yet.
So the chat deciding that they've a lot of things. Did I finally get back from getting cigarettes? You've got clothes older than me. That's wonderful. Am I 17? No, I'm not. So can you date me? Yeah, sure. Why not? Oh God, that's just enough to do it, but young enough not to know any better. And that's going to be my stance on it because it's rude to ask a lady her age, and I am a gentle lady. So I'm guessing we're into the daughter's movement phase, and see, this is going to be the thing. Jesse has the movement and the speed in his army to push up around the sides quite happily of these two big pieces of
it's
terrain.
a dangerous place to be.
So I think what he can do is put some pressure on the middle to lock Ben up and try to flick a couple of units around the side. Which would then put Ben in a really tough position of trying to cover the whole board with his units.
When you play an offensive game like this, it's really tough, especially when you do have pressure put on you by the opponent. It sort of forces you to make mistakes sometimes, and then the game goes a bit south for you.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see how much pressure, how Ben handles it, what he reacts with,
Yeah,
what he decides to push out. He can really only looks like he can push out the Plague Bearer screen that he's got going on around the outside here.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can take the brunt of the hits from the daughters.
I guess the worry is that he, in a couple of spots there, he spread that screen very thin. So if he starts taking some casualties, he's going to really easily start leaving gaps in his line. It's not like they're 3 or 4 models deep. They're at the best they're 2, which is it's kind of tricky. I think the best move would possibly be to get one of these big Great Unclean ones to move up into one of these gaps here, just to shut down and put a little bit of pressure on the side. Do the same over here so that you can put a little pressure there and just stop anything getting around you. But that doesn't answer the question of how he then gets across the board to pick up Jesse's objective.
Yeah, I don't think that's the game that Ben's playing at the moment.
Yeah.
I think if he was going to try and take his objective, I think he's going to try and get Jesse to forget about his own objective and try and rush forward to take his own. And then, depending on how he plants his trees, because he hasn't really left himself in a good position yet.
That tree has really dicked him hard, hasn't it?
It has, but then you're also going to think about his summoning. So summoning works in the sense that they have to be wholly within 12 inches of a tree or a hero. So his heroes are at the back of the board, and the tree is in the middle of the board. So if he's going to do a sneaky summon and try and get something to the back of the board and have more models within 6 inches,
he needs a tree further back.
He needs to get his heroes up and trees up, which I don't think he's in a position to do at any time soon by the looks, because he looks like he's going to get swamped. And the fact that Jesse has now put these guys, they look like they could be within 3 inches of the tree. So he's no longer going to get contagion points.
So shut
from
down
that tree.
And which, in a game like this, where you have an auto-win mechanic, it's really important to do that. So for those of you who aren't 100% aware, is that thing glowing? Yes, the objectives are lit up. So they are in fact glowing using the patented technology, Soul technology. It's patent pending, copyright infringement. No, they're wonderful little LED aquarium lights. Spectacular for it. Now those Blood Sisters moving up though, the issue that they're going to have is bringing them all is again just funneled into these 2 gaps either side of that tree. So where the tree has stopped Ben from being able to get his Great Unclean ones through, it's also going to be perfect for stopping Jesse bringing all of the weighted dice and numbers to bear, which I think is really good.
That's all right.
LLV chiming in, knife to the heart's good because it's a great separator, and I 100% agree.
I agree with that, wholeheartedly. The only thing is, once he gets past those trees, if he wins priority next turn, and he does run them again, or depending, or getting past, 6 inches, he could probably get them out here a little bit. And if he does charge, it is open here.
Yeah, there's a wide frontage, and if he's going to kill those Plague Bearers, the only way that he can do it, the only way to do it, is just with a buttload of dice.
Oh, definitely.
Because he's not going to get through any number of high quality attacks. He needs to get through a huge amount of just a gigantic number of multi-attacks just to counter the negs to hit.
Yeah. And well, let's just say that daughters are renowned for having a shitload of attacks.
So the objectives, just to highlight them for you and show you. So Jesse, the daughter of Cain player, that's his objective right there. That's the one glowing there. And the Nurgle one, you just can't see it at the moment because the big boy is kind of in the way, but it's just in here. That's where those 2 objectives are. On the map, you can see when that goes away, the little glow coming off of that. It is in fact the glowing blue thing, yes.
Yeah.
The reason I think this is a wonderful game is because it really forces you to play, it just in the same way that Relocation Orb forces you to think really hard about priority and plan where it's going to go, because you've got a 2/3 chance of knowing where it's going to bounce to. This one forces you to play really hard on that capture the flag tactical element. You can't rely on, say, one good turn and burning all the objectives and winning. You have to plan around actually playing the game right through. And I do like that it's often one that goes right down to the end. So it's awesome.
So I believe those sisters with the bows, with the shooting attack, are actually doing their thing at the moment. So I think a couple of them are shooting into Rodigus.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, I guess he's a monster. It's worth taking the
And,
shots.
yeah, and the other one, the Bell guy, is suffering a lot of the other shots, but Rodriguez has saved all of his at the moment. So
Oh, wow, okay, so fair, I guess.
It's fair,
The Daughters
yeah.
of Cain were rolling like they were just coming straight out of the kitchen, but at the same time, Megakin deserved to pass a few as well, I guess.
Yeah.
As a dispossessed player, I'd love to see both of these armies kill each other. That would be just grind themselves into a paste, and then we'll come along and take the gold.
Yep.
But I enjoy this one because, say for example, a gunline army, it can't just sit there and shoot. You can't rely on that kind of tactic to win. You have to push forward onto your opponent's objectives, and that's always awesome to see something that changes. Looks like priority rolls just
It's
come
priority
in.
roll, yep. Nurgle wins the priority
And
roll.
Nurgle has one priority. Now,
So, does he choose to take it?
see-
Yes.
see, I think this is kind of massive. Personally, I always look for reasons to give away priority
Yeah.
because it's just tempting fate. As soon as you take it, you've got this huge chance that you're going to get double turned back.
Yeah. That's
However,
true. That's scary.
I think with the speed of the Daughters and the placement of that unit of player bearers right here, I really think that he has to take it to stop all of those Daughters of Cain coming and filling this gap here against him.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of left that wide open, and so he's kind of got to have it.
He does, yeah. He's definitely taking it. And it looks
Yeah.
like, because the wheel has moved on to 6, so he's now choosing D3 units within 12 inches
Of
of each
course.
other to suffer D3 mortal wounds.
And I bet it's going to be the Slaughter Queen on Cauldron of Blood, and possibly the Hag if it's within range.
Yeah. I would be going for some of those hags if they're in range.
Yeah. Personally, I'd ignore the Slaughter Queen and I'd focus on the Hags. Slaughter
Yeah.
Queen requires a lot more effort to bring down, whereas the Hags are a bit easier. Not by much, not for 60
Not for
points.
60 points.
No, so just to update, at the bottom of round 1, we were in this position. Maggotkin has just won the roll-off, and they have decided to go to take it
They have,
rather
yeah.
than give it.
So one hag has suffered 2 wounds.
Oh, that's all right, that's good.
So that's getting there. It's
Yeah,
eating him
it's-
down,
it's,
eating him
you
down
know.
slowly.
Yep.
And the shrine has suffered 1. The Bloodback Shrine.
Look, it's not a bad way to do it. I just think that the pushing the points up on them is going to just be real hard.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming we've got a plague wind coming somewhere.
Somewhere.
Uh,
Well, the portal is sort
Yeah,
of still
where's
still
the
down
portal?
here,
We've got one
There.
portal there, yep.
and one here.
Sippy Tiger, yes, deployment is the whole half of the table and then just back off of it. That is correct for this one.
Yeah.
Last year, 2 years ago, at Masters, I managed to. I've never lost this game with Dispossessed, for the record. 4-inch movement Dispossessed. I have never lost this game. I don't play take and hold. I play hold and take. I was against. The first time I was against the Legions of Nagash army. I killed Nagash and then I took the gold off him. The second time I was against an Order Serpentis army. All those dragons came forward, I killed them, and then 4 Ironbreakers walked from the back of the board over to the other side of the board to take the objective. So for the record, this is a game that you can win even if your boys have no knees and shuffle around like a bunch of midgets.
So Rodriguez has actually cast Glorious Affliction Charge.
Okay, right.
And so that's quite a handy spell.
Yeah,
Stops.
especially against daughters.
Yeah. So then Plague Wind has actually failed. It was dispelled.
Oh,
It was
okay,
dispelled.
well,
So
that's-
those dice rolls there were dispelling it. He was
Really wanted to
successful.
stop that,
He did.
yeah.
He really did. Favoured Poxes are being cast at the moment. So Favoured Pox has got a 14-inch range, and it's
Yeah.
going to go onto the Snake Ladies too. So he's trying to debuff the Snake Ladies as much as he can.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is what I would be doing as well, because they look like they are going to be the hard hitters coming down, like as Dan said,
Definitely.
funneling down
Yep.
here. So he wants to try and debuff them because they're coming whether he likes it or not.
Yeah, and also like with those Blood Sisters, the combat monsters, they have 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 1. But then they've also, like with that, the negs to hit, they start to tailor it out, especially when they can then buff them with the Hag Queen to be re-rolling all the wounds. And 30 Plague Bearers seems like a lot until they get hit by,
A million attacks.
30 attacks that then pile in and attack into hero phase as well.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
No one likes that.
That's why the double turn from Daughters of Cain is so terrifying, right? Because they can go into you, and if they don't finish you off, they'll probably finish you off in their hero phase and be free to move. So it looks like.
He's done 2 more wounds to the Hag Queen.
Oh, so she'd be probably getting close. She'd be very unhappy with the way that things are turning out for her.
She's got a sad face on.
Yeah, good, yeah. Which, let's be honest, no one cries any tears when they see Hag Queens getting hurt.
No.
No.
Actually, there's a lot of rejoicing. There's
Yeah.
high fives.
Yeah.
There's everything else like that. Celebrations.
The magical pickaxe, what does it cast on? The magical pickaxe, I thought you were asking about the magical pickaxe, which is the dispossessed greatest thing. I didn't even use it to win those games. I didn't teleport anyone, I just walked across the board. Thank you very much. But the half move spell, do you know what it casts on?
It casts on a 5.
On a 5. Get out.
Yeah.
If you do that to my dwarves, I'm movement 2. I'm movement 2. I'm not even I'm effectively one of the stalag squigs. They're like, just stay in place, stand there and look menacing.
So we've also done some healing. So the guy with the bell, the
He
fatty in the
got a
middle
couple
there,
of wounds, yeah.
he's got, so you can see he's got his little wound dice down there.
Yeah?
So they heal a D3 at the start, in the
Yeah.
hero phase. So he's healed a couple, so which is great. So he can stay alive hopefully a little bit longer.
They're just so staunch.
Yes, they are. Yeah, especially when they got the endless gift on. Like that
Yeah.
guy is so hard to put down.
It's interesting. However,
He's also moved the wheel back as well, so
right,
he's back
get,
to.
the damage output of 30 witch elves is gigantic, but you get hit with 10 witch elves, they will mess you up so hard.
Yes.
It's not
yeah.
nice. It's not nice for 10 admittedly blood-mad murderesses, but the amount of attacks, the amount of rerolls and damage.
He has to look at the table. He has to sort of realise that not only are these guys here going to come down here probably,
Yeah.
you got to keep an eye. You got to protect your flanks. So these guys here are super aggressive,
Yep.
and they're probably definitely looking at coming around here. So he's got to keep an eye on that. So whether or not he just keeps his formation as it is and moves up as a blob,
Yep.
just to try and protect the guys in the middle, or whether.
With the Nurgle there, I'll be using to push this unit here to push into this section and block all that up, and then move these guys and try to come around the top. So
Yeah.
you create that green shield wall of plague bearers here to stop everything up, and just put in a couple of great unclean ones behind them, and then have another line over here, because then you're only leaving your opponent down this bottom way to travel back towards you. And I think that would be the way to do it, because then you can push all of those big great unclean ones along that way and
I
leave
think-
maybe one in support in the middle there.
Yeah, see, that's the sort of, because he has the tree in the middle there, he definitely has blocked himself out from the centre of the table. So I think that's probably one of the only options he has, is to move the big fat guys over to the left, or they're a bit too far away from the right. But we'll see what happens in the future turns to see what Jesse does, how he reacts to how Ben moves.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, yes, Barry, you are right. With me, everything is shield walls. What I do is I love looking for ways that I can just lock my opponent in place and then watch them cry as they impotently bounce off of my armor. And it's wonderful. I exist on the sustenance I gain from drinking in their tears, which I guess as a Nurgle player, you probably do roughly the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's probably not, but tears
well,
just grows.
it's-
It's the giving the plague. If we can give out the plague
Yeah,
more
right.
and give them some disgusting feelings,
Yeah.
then we really love that.
Yours is like the joy you get from forcing people to miss and re-roll their hits.
Yeah.
Mine is the joy I get from letting them hit me and then just ignoring it.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. We just break humans, but everyone else has to go around me. So the sounding off in the chat about pushing the wheel back is a push to put in. So yeah, it looks like he is doing that. Looks like that unit of plague bearers over here on the right is going to be pushing up, which I think is the right move. It'll be what he does with this unit here. That's the one that I think is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't lock down the centre,
Could potentially be sort of over. I'm not taking sides, but
yeah,
you've got to be
you're totally
really-
taking sides. No, hostile commentary is the best commentary.
He's got to be very, very careful, because if he makes a mistake here with his movement, I think Jesse can take full advantage of it. You've got to remember they're both really good players, and
With the dispossessed, I know that between bells and wheels and trees and all that other namby-pamby bullshit that Nurgle get, you guys end up being one of the fastest armies in the game. But with dispossessed, such a low movement, it makes it really crucial what you do. And I think that's the same with this Nurgle army. They've got a lot of terrain locking them in. They've got really slow movement, and so they need to use it very smart, otherwise they'll get themselves in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and especially in this list because he doesn't have the units that can do a lot of damage. Like those plague bearers don't do a lot of damage.
Yep.
They're more there just to be a nuisance.
He's only got 5 Blight Kings, which
does.
usually people lean on in a Blight Cyst for their damage.
Yeah, and the Blight Kings are at the back. So
Yeah,
they're not being used at their full potential sort of at the moment. So they're there probably just to protect that.
I think he
objective.
played. I think maybe the idea that he was playing against Daughters of Cain meant that he deployed super defensively.
Super defensive.
Really worried. Like, why would you put those Blight Kings at the back when your opponent has nothing that can drop down from the sky? He doesn't have anyone flying. He doesn't have anything like that. So why were they at the back? He also then blocked himself in with all of these movements, trapping those great unclean ones. I think he got the yips. A little bit scared.
I think so too. I think he's gone, oh, it'll be okay, I'll play defensively and we'll sort of see what happens. But when you're playing, on top tables and against another good player, I think you've got to be a little bit more specific with what you want to do.
Yeah, and also not really shutting them down. Now, the Love Robot himself is back. He's programmed to be hard to find. However, we located him in the crowd after finding his cap, shoe, and cane. Here he is, Dan from AOS Shorts, featuring Where's Wally?
Cheers, guys. Here's the update from the tables around the top tables. So let's go to table 1 to start. So table 1 is the Daughters of Cain versus the KO. So we are top of turn 2. Daughters are at the top. KO did some shooting in the first round. Daughters have moved up. There's a few snakes dead, but that's about it. KO, however, do have the frigate to come. That frigate is going to drop down with 14 Thunderers and a Chemist in it. So there is a world of shooting hurt going to drop down on the Daughters at some point, but it has not come down yet. So that's where we are in table 1. Table 2, this is the Gore Pilgrims versus Warherds list, described by the players as KG. So where we have the Gore Pilgrims list with a large number of infantry models screening off both of the board edges to prevent Beast of Chaos coming in, but they left a gap, and what popped up into that gap? A Beast Lord with a mutilating Nail Blade, giving +2 damage. That Beast Lord is soloing around in the backfield of the Gore Pilgrims, and we're going to see what that Beast Lord does. Table 3, this is the Nighthorn versus the Winterleaf of Lee. This is another matchup where a tiny, tiny gap left in the Winterleaf territory has resulted in a Dreadblade Harrow and 2 Chainghasts teleporting into the back of the Winterleaf lines. So we're going to see what havoc that can cause. Table 4, this is the Stormcast of Adam Burt versus the Grand Host of Infantry and an Incanter. He charged the Incanter into the doggies of the Grand Host and the Gash, and he's taking turn 2 and is moving up. So that's still a bit cagey. They've still got 10 infantry up in the sky, and we'll see where that goes. Table 6, we have got the Grand Host and the Gash of Nick Hohen against Legion of Asgore. Plucky Legion of Asgore. Skullcracker, first turn charge right into the Grimghast Reapers. Took out 16 Grimghast Reapers, and then Grimghast Reapers do what they do. 14 have immediately popped back. So boo earns, we all hate Grimghast Reapers. Table 7, this is the Dreadwood of Charles versus the Legion of Asgore. He has basically tied up the Legion of Asgore shooting. He's summoned Dryads right up into the battle line. He's got teleported tree revs right up into the battle line. It's really tight. It's going to be interesting to see how that combat phase goes. If the Dreadwood can take out enough of the Legion of Asgore shooting, then what that Legion list is going to find is a massive teleporting list of all the Spike Revenants coming across in the second wave, trying to swamp that objective and make it game over. So we're going to have to see how the Dreadwood does against that and if the Legion of Asgore can survive. Table 8 there, aren't we? 15 eels have slammed into the castle of the Mixed Destruction. There was also a gap lift at the back. So the Troll Princess, the Troll Queen herself, has been teleported into the back of the Idoneth Deepkin line, going for that back objective. So we are going to see how the Mixed Destruction list can do there. Table 9, this is the Beasts of Chaos versus the Phoenix Temple. That bull is rampaging through the Phoenix Temple lines. A lot of Beasts of Chaos have died, but there is more and more coming. We're going to see what that does and if the Phoenix Temple survive. And now on table 10, we have the Idoneth matchup. Kent deployed his eels rushed his eels onto the table, took out 30 thralls, but now the whole rest of the of Cameron's army has spun around, trying to take out those eels. Those eels look out in a world of hurt, so that really is in the balance. It's a beautiful looking army, both very technicolored eels. We're going to see where they're going. The only other matchup I'm going to mention from one of the tables is we have the Spiderfang versus Spiderfang matchup. So we have a wave of spiders going across the board into Seth's lines. Seth has got the Skitterstrand nest, so he has deployed his 2 Skitterstrands to go for the back objective, surrounded by 1 unit of spiders. So we're going to see how that spider on spider action is going. But that's it for the update for the tables. We'll go back to the streaming table now, and I'll turn it over to you guys. Cheers.
Thank you very much, you beautiful, gorgeous man with the fantastic hair, the chiseled jawline, and the excellent teeth. It's hard to focus on war dollies when you have something so beautiful talking at you. It's distracting, right?
Especially wearing that
I
beautiful
know,
shirt.
because it's like I'm programmed from my childhood to find him.
Yeah.
And now that he's here, I just can't look away.
It's just in the back of my mind all the time when I see that. I just know where he is everywhere.
Yeah. Welcome back, if you are just joining
Yes.
us. Yeah. To Cancon, Call to Glory 2019. 200 Age of Sigmar players. We are in round 5, knife to the heart, with Daughters of Cain facing off against the Maggotkin of Nurgle. This is one of the top tables, so both of these players are on full major victories for the tournament. And it looks like what we were discussing just before the break, which is that we really thought that the Maggotkin needed to push these Plague Bearers here up to block this kind of entrance thoroughfare. However, Gemma,
He has not done that. He
I
has
just
not.
heard from the table after having a little chat with the players
yes.
that Ben with the Maggotkin has decided to castle. So he's decided to lock it up and weather the storm. And Jesse, on the other hand, has realised that all he's going to do is inch forwards until he's in range and then unleash everything in a single turn.
Ooh.
Now, I love that. I love the drama of it. Right?
This is big build-up.
It is.
It's going to reach this climax.
It's like freaking Helm's Deep, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is 2 towers we got going on
It
right
is,
here.
it is.
Now, the problem with that, and where I worry for Ben, is that this is a much better place for Jesse to be in.
It
Because
is.
if it goes bad for Jesse, he still has his own objective.
That's
And he
correct.
can still leave a couple of units in the backfield just to lock up his objective. However, for Ben, if it goes bad, he has lost his objective and lost the game.
That's right.
So I personally, I think that Nurgle desire to be defensive, while in a lot of other games would be great, in this one it's going to put him in a real bad mood.
He's in a bit of a pickle,
Yep.
and I feel now that Nurgle has so many ways to move across the table,
Yeah.
I feel like they can be quite a offensive army now. Even though he is using a lot of plague bearers, I still think that you can throw them across the table and just cause to be a pain in the ass basically for your opponent. Because
Yeah.
they have to chew through them, but they're further away from you, so you can sort of reevaluate your side of the table. Whereas at the
Exactly.
moment he is castled up around his objective and he doesn't have any choices left. Like basically once those die there, Jesse can take advantage of that and just go, thank you, I have your objective
This is.
now.
I'm going to take this now.
Yeah. So it looks like some charges have happened.
Yeah. And this is the thing. This combat is now happening right down here. It's happening inches from Ben's objective. So the daughters are all pushing up. They're going to be able to push up, and this is where the battle is going to be fought here. Now, if last turn Ben had been a little bit more aggressive, the battle would have been fought along this line here and along this line here, with a couple of great unclean ones for support. That's where the battle could have been fought, which would have meant that if things went bad or a hole was punched in his lines, he still had time to deal with it.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
fact that he's left them so far back, that's going to be not
It's
great
going to be
news.
super hard. He has got a job cut out for him now.
Especially now that those units are tagged by the plague bearers have been tagged.
Yes.
They're not going any further.
And
forward.
he's done very well because the way that he's basically charged them is he's given them no room. They're all the way down here. So you're not fitting
No.
pretty much anything there.
Yeah.
So he's stuck there, and we'll see what happens over this side because he's doing some shenanigans at the moment.
He may just be throwing one unit in just to get started, maybe.
It looks like he's tagged that unit so they're stuck there.
Just so that,
and doing
so
that.
that this next turn he can bring that whole unit in against.
Yeah, so
them.
it depends who wins priority. If he wins priority, Ben's in a real tough position.
Yeah.
Because now he's completely blocked in.
Also, just a quick update from the tables in case you didn't see the last game. We had Dave the Master Kerr himself with Ideneth Deakin playing against the Cadron Overlord's army, and the Cadrons won.
Yes.
They popped him.
They did.
It was actually the greased up goblin bounced around quite respectfully for both players. But yeah, he got picked apart by those beautiful not dispossessed Dwarden, and it was wonderful to see those slanty-eared elves being scalped.
Refreshing. It is refreshing to see
Beautiful
those
thing.
little dudes come away with a win. And I'm pretty sure he's sitting on four wins now.
Look, personally, I love the Cadron Overlords. I think that it was a Zilfin drop list that we saw, though not the typical one. The thing is, I think they have a bunch of amazing lists, but what happened was there was one obvious list, everyone took it, and then because of the change to the war scrolls and the change to the points and everything, that list became unviable, and everyone wrote them off.
Yes.
I think there is a lot of legs in that army book, and I don't think enough people give it the time to really try to do something different. And I think they're one of the most underused armies in the game.
I agree.
Especially with the amount of variety that could be pulled in. Kiara, hot garbage, says Horace. How very dare you? I think they're wonderful. I think there's amazing things. I've got an Ether Strike force that's yet to be beaten with my KO. So I 100% think that they have legs. You just need to step away maybe from what we're caught up in thinking about them from the last edition.
So the Plague Bearers look like they have piled in. They have moved off their trays. They've gotten amongst it. There's a bit more of a fighting action happening in the centre of the table.
And let's watch them lazily swing their swords around their head.
I think the Plague Bearers have already attacked and have only done one wound, possibly. Now Jesse's going to pile in.
Yeah, he's going to, and those Blood Sisters are going to absolutely carve up as well. They love a good bit of combat.
Oh, so the Plague Bearers have only done one wound on their own.
Yeah.
And then they actually stabbed themselves in the face because the save roll.
Because he rolled. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Plague Bearers can't even. The Plague Bearers doing more damage to themselves.
Yeah, they're on par with doing more damage to themselves.
They're equal opportunity Plague Bearers. They want everyone to have the same chance.
Yep.
LLV, you're 100% right. Dispossessed are 100% too underused. Now, obviously, at Cancon, the Dispossessed are undefeated, undefeatable, which is,
That's awesome.
amazing. It's impossible to beat the Dispossessed at Cancon, so that's good news. We wanted to give everyone the same opportunity. Now, Gemma, if you were Ben and you had this army, would you have wanted this combat to be taking place here?
Definitely not.
Right.
This is a very, very scary place to be for Ben. As we've already established, he's sort of castled up and Jesse has full advantage to basically take that objective off him. Yes, there's a lot of wounds left on those Great Unclean ones, but those daughters can dish out a lot of damage. And the fact that the queens are still alive, so they're going to be getting a lot of buffs, so they're in the right place. I personally probably would have been a lot more aggressive.
Yeah.
I would have thrown my Plague Bearers probably out in the middle of the field just to cause a bit more of a drama for Jesse. It probably would have he probably wouldn't have been as confident, hopefully, because at the moment I feel, looking at this, he's very confident. Like he knows exactly what he's doing with those
And
witches.
he knows that he has a wide frontage of Plague Bearers to bring attacks against. He's not bottlenecked anywhere.
That's correct, and he's put Ben on his back foot.
Definitely. I think that's the problem here is that the tempo of this game has kind of gotten away from Ben. Jesse's very much in the driving seat.
He is.
And when we talk about it, I think it's always better to be in the driving seat. It's better to be asking the questions that your opponent has to answer than to be trying to answer their questions, because it makes it a lot harder to know just where to kind of like push and poke. It's also a lot easier to make a mistake when you're being asked questions of.
No worries. So I'm pretty sure that combat has just finished, and a few Plague Bearers went down. So there was more casualties on the Plague Bearer side than what there was on the Snake side.
So our equal opportunity Plague Bearers.
Yeah, and Jesse has also won the priority.
Oh, so we're looking at a daughter double
So we're
turn.
looking at a daughter double
And see, this is what I was saying. This is why I thought Ben probably should have handed off that turn priority last turn. Because now he's getting doubled by the daughters. They're going to bring everything to bear while he's bunched up around his objective.
Well, you look at where his stuff is. So he's basically got a unit here, and he's got a unit set up here.
Yep.
By the looks. And these guys are already in combat, but he still has these guys here. to sort of come down here if he wants
Yeah.
to. So I imagine in this turn he's going to try and buff him up with the heroes, and then just get him in amongst
I
it.
think we're going to see. I doubt that they're going to be able to take care of these great unclean ones or do it much to them this turn. But I don't think he wants to.
No.
I think what he wants to do is pull forward, put pressure along this entire line.
Yes.
So this whole line here, so that, or you're going to draw them out. Now, the objective, have a look at the table, and I can confirm that the objective is the light that shines out of Rodriguez's ass. That's what they're trying to get.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's poetic even.
Yeah.
So, at the moment, to win the game, they need to kill Rodriguez, which is
Well,
a bit of an ask.
it is a little bit of an ask, but he is not as resilient as the other two, especially because the main guy has the endless gift.
The general, yeah. So,
But it's hard because you got to choose, because he's a combat truck, or well, more so than the other two. You sort of got to go, well, he's more resilient, but he does more damage. So where do I put him on
yeah,
the table?
exactly.
You've got to make that choice.
And I think that perhaps the idea of pushing forward with Rodriguez and the combat monster and leaving the support one back might not have been a bad idea as well.
Yep.
However, he wants that bell wherever he can get his most. So just, Gemma, just for the chat, could you please run us through Nurgle Summoning again? A few people have just joined and just want to know how potentially Plague Bearers and things can be summoned into the backfield and capture this objective, which is now all but undefended for Jesse.
No
He's
worries.
committed hard.
Yes, he has committed hard. All right, no worries, I can do that for you guys. So basically, summoning contagion points happens in the hero phase, and you use those to bring up models in the movement phase. And they have to be wholly within 12 inches of the tree or 12 inches of a hero. So at the moment, Ben is on the back foot there as well because he only has one tree here and the 3 heroes here. And unfortunately, his contagion points aren't going to be as high because it looks like he's got an enemy unit within 3 inches, so he won't actually get any
And he has
contagion points from that.
Nothing within range.
He's got nothing
in
the opponent's side, so at the moment he's only going to get 3 points for being in his own area. He's not even going to get 1 point for the enemy not being in. So what happens is you get 1 point if the enemy's not in your territory.
Which they now are.
Yeah, so they now are. So he's only going to be getting about 3 points, I believe, at this stage.
Yeah.
So, and
He is on. I think he is on 6 at the moment.
he's on 6, so they'll have 9, but he's got to be careful because you have to summon and you've got to be 9 inches away from enemy units
He's
as well.
not wholly within our.
Yeah,
He's not
so
going to have range. at
the
the
bubble
back.
from this tree is not going to be
Yeah.
wide enough for him to be 9 inches away from these guys. So I don't see him doing any sneaky summoning
What if
to
you,
get up
if
here.
you summon a tree? Does a tree also have to be
Yeah.
9 inches away? Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So that's
Because
going to make it
you're
really
you're
hard.
still summoning them. So your first tree is put down before the game, and then Horticulus's one is put down
Yeah.
just from within 3 inches of him.
So the chat wants to know, how were you drawn to Nurgle? Why was that your like piece to resist on?
Okay, so
Because you played Everchosen, didn't you?
I did.
You took an Archaon Vanguard list.
yeah, I'm bringing that back. So
You are. You're bringing it
Secret
back.
Squirrel
Like
business.
S Club 7, you're
Yeah.
bringing it all back
yes,
to us.
Yes, I am. I am.
Great.
So at the moment they are being painted,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be running those guys as well. So I'm just trying to
wicked.
make a list. There's maybe some sneaky, some Slanesh in there for some piling in shenanigans.
So you rate the Everchosen style?
Oh, I love it because no one uses it,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's going to be ultra competitive.
All right. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to win anything, but I think it's just going to be fun because it's going to be like no one sees it. So I think that's what attracts people to it.
See, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that ability for the formation still there where you get to roll the dice and know who has to take the next turn?
That is, yeah.
That's so amazing.
It is, but it's 220 points, and you're relying on a Gort Summoner to be alive, and he's got a 5-up save, 6-up save and 5 wounds. So he is very pushy, and he's got to be within a certain
And
distance
because
of
he has
Archaon.
fly, it also means that you can't hide him behind, say, some trees or something.
That's right, and he's got to be within a distance of Archaon. So
course, yeah.
I don't think it's worth 220 points, to be honest. So funny story was we bought some Plague Toads, and I was watching a Kenny Bechet YouTube video on how to paint them.
Yeah.
And I walked in and Michael was already started. He goes, "Oh, would you like to paint one?" And I said, "Yeah, let's give it a go with an airbrush."
yeah.
And I fell in love with them because they looked really cool, and it was, you know, when something's new and you think it's awesome.
Yeah.
So then Michael actually bought them for himself, and
And then they
I
ended
just
up
was
being
like,
yours.
well, actually,
maybe I should have these.
Yeah, they're mine now. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, dibs. Basically, you're just like, dibs.
I did
These
get
are
up
mine
him
now.
for buying them, which is hilarious because he bought them off a friend, and I said, "What did you do buying that garbage? Look at them, they're disgusting, like they're filthy. Yuck! How can anyone like
Yeah,
them?"
I love you.
Yeah, and then I just fell in love with them from the toes.
It's like, see, this is my problem, right? I'm very allergic to cats. Like, just to the extent that some cats I am fine with, but some cats, I will just be in the house that they've been in, and I will like look like I've just watched the ending of Titanic, because I'll be red-faced and crying and just being like, why can't you just love? So that's what cats do to me. So I despise them because of the pain they bring me. But then if I see like a really cute cat, or if one comes up to me and is like purring and wanting attention, I can't help myself.
You gotta pick it up.
Yeah, I've got to pick it up. I've got to pat it and rub it. And I feel like that's just you with Nurgle. You're like, these are disgusting. How could you possibly? Oh my gosh, I love you so much.
Yeah. They have I have a cabinet in my bedroom that's probably about 2 meters away from my bed, so I can say goodnight to them.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I dig Nurgle because they're the happy chaos ones, right?
They are.
They're just like I feel so sad for beasts of Nurgle that they run up to things because they just want to play with them, and then they melt.
They kill them, absolutely. They're like just puppy dogs, really.
Yeah. The Jesse playing Daughters of Cain has all of these cool like Magic the Gathering style cards with all of his abilities and spells and prayers on them. I've seen a few people doing it. I really dig it. As someone who doesn't have as many, I love that someone can put those down and I go, okay, cool, I know all the abilities that I have. So it makes it a lot clearer as well for your opponent.
It does, yeah. Yep.
The dispossessed. The dispossessed aren't here because they're fighting the bailiffs. Yeah, that's 100% it. That's exactly what's happening. Jesse.
Someone want a grudge?
Jesse, Horace86 is asking if you want a grudge at BrizCon. I have no idea why. Have you perhaps been slapping people with gauntlets while we were in midstream, just demanding challenges?
No, I have not. I have not been banging any drums there, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Well, guys, take it off the stream. You're just like air your dirty
Message me.
laundry. Yeah, she just looked real aggressive. Horace86. I would recommend being careful because like that was not like the punch of someone who hasn't like knocked someone out in their time. So I'd be real careful. She might not only slap you all across the table, she might slap you all across the car park as
Nurgle's
well.
taught me how to love.
Yeah, right. And sometimes that love comes with violence.
It does.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
Or if it's Nurgle, maybe it comes with violence. Get it? It's like
That's a
violence
good
and
one.
bile. Yeah,
That's a good one. So I'm pretty sure someone is being stared at in the game at the moment.
What's the Daughters unit in the bottom left? That's actually 2 different units down here of 10 Witch Elves. So down there's 2 10s of Witch Elves, which I think are going to try and slip in through the back door here. They've left the
I was going to point that out actually. I was going to say I wonder if Jesse, instead of putting pressure onto sort of mid-table here, whether he was going to do like a sneaky movement down here to try and force Ben maybe to make a mistake or see what he does with these guys, his reaction to them.
20 Witch Elves put out a lot of damage. I don't know if it's enough to kill 2 Great Unclean Ones on their way through.
Yeah, it's definitely going to put it, like Ben's going to be thinking about it, and that's really all you need for someone to make a mistake, I think.
Yeah, however, if he can push through here and put enough hurt onto this unit of Plague Bearers right there, if that combat goes well, he could potentially tag these Great Unclean Ones and leave them free to sneak around the back. And then all he's got to do is get more models within range of Rodigus, because at the moment, I think Ben only has maybe 3 or 4 models controlling that objective.
Yeah. So that's something else he's going to have to think about. He's going to have to watch the table, see what Jesse does, where his units are going to go, and then decide whether he needs to pull back a couple of his units to try and get more models around that objective. But then that's also a bad thing because it's castling up even more.
Yeah.
So he's got a big decision to make.
Yeah, I think Ben is going to need a real good turn with his magic and his damage coming out, because he needs to push those elves to give him a little bit of breathing room in the next turn.
Yeah, they're getting really in his face.
I think
it's an uncomfortable
It's going to be
position.
important for Jesse as well when he does his charges to try and tag this unit of Plague Bearers here. Because otherwise, if they're free, they're going to just lock down all of his units. I'd be trying to use this unit here to come into combat on this line and then get one with the patented Dan Brewer 2.9-inch charge, which is where you charge one unit and leave one model within 2.9 inches of someone else just to pull them in.
Yeah.
Force either the retreat, or if they pile in, they're only getting one model to attack you.
Yeah, that's a really good tactic.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
it's brutal against a slow army as well.
It is.
An army that's slow without fly, like Nurgle or Dispossessed, someone does that to you and you're like, I hate my life.
I have seen that tactic being used by a few Skaven players.
Yeah.
And it suits them because they're dirty.
Yeah, well, and Skaven don't mind it because a lot of them can retreat and still
Yeah,
charge.
but it's a dirty tactic, and that's why Skaven play.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, it's a very Skaven thing
It is
to
a
do.
very Skaven thing
to
to do.
play that one.
So some shooting has just happened.
Yeah.
Some plague bearers have died, and the Great Unclean one with the Doomsday Bell is up to 6 wounds now. So he's got 10 left.
Okay.
So still a few, but
Yeah.
it has taken him down a notch.
Yes, he does need to start hurting him. LLV actually reminding me, it wasn't Dan Brewer, but a huge congratulations has to go out because they're one of Australia's best Age of Sigmar players, Chris from the Mortally Wounded podcast. He's not playing here right now because right now he's just had his first kid. And that's awesome. I mean, he didn't give birth to the child, which he didn't do that part of the birth. But just a massive congrats. You got this gorgeous kid, and if you were going to miss the biggest Age of Sigmar event in the world, that is a fantastic reason not to be here. So if you're out there in the chat, just wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you're at work, if you're in bed, just a tiny little golf clap just to say congrats, because that's freaking awesome.
It is beautiful. I wish them all the best.
Yeah,
he looks perfect in the photo that I've seen on Facebook.
Another little wargamer brought into the world.
Definitely.
Who I am going to try and taint with playing Dispossessed as soon as I possibly can.
All right, so Jesse rolled double ones for that charge.
Wow.
And then had to re-roll it.
Wow, okay. That's obviously not what he wanted, though. I'm guessing he's probably got a couple of command points up his sleeve.
Yeah, yep.
Now,
Well, he would have started with 2.
is that unit piled in close enough to the other unit of 30 plague bearers that they're tagged within 3 inches? That's what we really need to know.
That's what we need to know.
I think we're just getting an update from the table.
Yes, they are.
They are.
Yes,
Okay,
they are.
wow. That's gonna. Ben's gonna be real unhappy with what he has to do next turn to get them out.
Yeah,
oh, and he's
definitely.
also charged up the top here as
Yes,
well.
yeah.
So they're tagged with a 2.9 inch here and there.
there.
That's just well played.
That
there.
is very well played.
We're going to go to the man on the decks. He's going to give us a quick update from the rest of the tables as to how it's all going. And we're going to cross to the man himself, the love robot from the future. Here is Dan from AOS Shorts.
Hey guys, welcome back. So many exciting things going on the top 10 tables to report on. Lots of things to go through. There's a couple of key stories that I'm going to pick up as we go through. But for the sake of your brains, I'm going to go table by table. So table 1, this is the contest between the KO and the Daughters of Cain. It is the bottom of turn 2. The boat has come down. It is threatening the Daughters' home objective. But the KO have an issue. That issue is a ton of snakes. Snakes in the face in the home lines of the KO. And they're running out of shots that are able to take them down. So we'll have to see whether or not the KO can hold on to those snakes up in their grill. So table 2. Table 2 is the Warherds versus Gore Pilgrims. The Warherds got the double turn 1 into turn 2, and those angry beasts are smashing up some Khorne followers. So we're going to see how that one turns out. Table 3. Table 3 is the Nighthaunt versus Sylvaneth Winterleaf list. The Nighthaunt of Ash McEwen have done a really, really good job of screening out the board. So that Winterleaf list has got 6 of the attacking eels as their allied choice. Oh, sorry, not as their allied choice, as one of their order units. And they have, Lee with his attacking eels has had to bring them on behind his own lines in a forest in order to try and charge through the forest, risking the dangerous terrain roll to take out the Nighthaunt's general. So, turn 4, table 4. We have Adam Burt with his Stormcast against Mix, Grand Host of Nagash. Adam's master plan was to drop everything turn 2. But unfortunately, he failed his 8 and 9 inch charges with a reroll. He's not going to be able to get the double turn to smash out the Grand Host of Nagash. So it's not looking too good for Adam there. Grand Host are holding the lines. Table 6, here is the update of the Legions of Asgore against Grand Host and Nagash. That Skullcracker is the man of the match for that. He has taken out another 18 Reapers. So that is a massive 36 Reapers that Skullcracker has taken out. Unfortunately, there are more Reapers from where that came from. And they're just doing what Reapers do. So that's table 6. Table 7, you may recall, this is the other matchup. This is the Dreadwood versus Legion. Dreadwood went up in the face. It went horribly for the Dreadwood. Legion of Asgore just shot a whole load of things at point blank range into the Dreadwood. Alariel down to 1 wound. Alariel had to teleport out. All the rest of the forces had to teleport out. Durthu died, and Legion of Asgore are now safely in control of their home objective, having only lost a magma cannon and 1 unit of shooters. So they are pushing out. It's really interesting to see. Legion of Asgore can't relax because those Dreadwood can teleport back across with the positioning in the woods, but that did not go to plan for Charles and his Dreadwood. Table 8, this is the story of the round. You may recall that the Troll Princess, the Troll Queen herself, got teleported across the table for the back objective. The Troll Princess won the game for Mixed Destruction by taking out 7 Reavers, 5 Thralls, and a Tidecaster over turn 2 to seize the home objective on turn 3. So that 21 Eels list could not stand up to a Mixed Destruction list with the Troll Hag. Well done to Dino taking out that. Turn 9, or table 9, this is a really interesting one. This is the Beast versus Phoenix Temple. James Morehouse making a big play, flying over a Phoenix to try and capture the home objective. That's going to potentially turn on the priority roll going 2 into 3. That's what I'm going to find out for you. If James gets the priority roll, he will win that on the top of turn 3 with the Phoenix and the Comet in position. Turn 10, Eels doing eel things to both eachers. Nothing much to report from that table. So that's the wrapper. The only other thing, you may mention the I did mention the Spider-Fang versus Spider-Fang matchup. That game is looking like they're going to switch objectives into turn 3. So Seth is going to control his opponent's objective. The other guy's going to control Seth's objective. And Spider's just doing Spider stuff. No one knows what's going on. That's a really interesting thing to see. We're now going to go back over to the table. And we'll have more reports for you later in the round. Cheers, guys.
That's just spectacular, right? It's a case of the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah.
They've seen theirs and gone, hey, your stuff looks all right. They're going, oh, your
stuff looks good too.
Yeah, mate.
Let's swap.
It's just trade. You know what? It's a farmer's market.
Yes.
That's where they've gone.
Yep, they have.
So if you just joined us, welcome back to Cancon 2019. We are into round 5 of 6 games of War Dollies. 200 Age of Sigmar players, yeah. And they're doing pretty good. Like you can see, people are starting to tire, but no one's letting up. The pressure's good.
Oh, no, they don't want to give in. They're fighters.
It's
they're
a
warriors
frenzy.
out there.
Yeah, it's a frenzy.
Dice warriors.
Yeah, oh, that's it, Dice Warriors.
Yeah.
I like War Dolly Dice Warriors. So everyone's going a bit crazy here. It's wicked. Our top table at the moment, Daughters of Cain versus Maggotkin of Nurgle in Knife to the Heart. Quick update, if you haven't played it before or you're new to the system, Knife to the Heart, there's 2 objectives, one of yours and one of your opponent's, and you win automatically from turn 3 if you control both. Now Ben, the Maggotkin player, has played really defensively. He's castled up and tried to create a shield wall. Whereas Jesse, the Daughters of Cain player, has done what Daughters do best. He's run across the board, slammed into combat, and is trying to chop through them. Now, this is just a fun point of fact. The Daughters went in and needed 6s to hit. He rolled, and 6s explode. He rolled 2 6s to hit. He had to re-roll them because of the Wither Stave and rolled another 2 6s.
That is amazing.
Yeah, he's taken off quite a few. You can see here, there's a number of Plague Bearers
I was going
taken
to say,
off.
is that the dead pile?
Yeah, that's the dead. So they've chopped a few. I have a feeling Ben's not going to have his shield wall up for that much longer.
I think it's going to fall. I think it's not looking good. I'm just worried about what's happening over here.
Yeah.
Because he's really spread out there,
I think,
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I actually think the best move here would be for Ben to grab this unit next turn and retreat out of combat and push this way. I think that's his best move. It's a risk because you're relying on the Great Unclean Ones in this backfield and the Blight Kings to hold your objective. But I think he needs to put pressure on Jesse
He does.
So that Jesse has, because at the moment, Jesse can just focus on combat and forcing his way onto Ben's objective.
Yeah, Jesse's well and truly in control of this tape at the moment. And if he does retreat those Plague Bearers, hopefully that forces Jesse to sort of go, oh, shit, I didn't think that was going to happen.
There's 30 Plague Bearers right up in my face.
That's
now,
right.
the risk there is that he's running the gauntlet, that maybe he can't get them into a threat, like a range to be a threat in time. But if he doesn't do something so that Jesse...
You know, in the bubble.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily need to win the game with that Plague Bearer unit, but he needs to use it
He needs
put
to apply
pressure
pressure.
on.
And that's what I mean. Like, if he can do that and then get these guys, you know, away from his units, that could potentially help these guys down here win or try and can take control, help them in this sort of scenario here, maybe.
Yeah, now, like, to be honest, it's a bit like a nightclub, right?
Yeah.
At the moment, there's 2 DJs in the nightclub. Jesse is just, for some reason, the unadulterated Skrillex. It's just all beats and drops, and it's blasting out. Now Ben, with the Maggotkin, has decided to play a couple of nursery rhymes.
Yeah.
They're safe, they're secure, we know them and we love them, but the volume just isn't enough. He needs to turn up the tempo so that people start dancing to his music.
Yeah, he does. And I'm interested to see how he's going to try and do that.
Yeah, I think the only unit he can do it with at the moment is those Plague Bearers.
Those Plague Bearers, yeah.
He does have this unit down here of Blight Kings. So he's got a unit of Blight Kings sitting down there. They're just off to the side of Rodigus. I think what he should do is move the Blight Kings in to support his failing shield wall there and retreat them around. That would be the move for me.
I agree. That's a really good plan. Because those Blight Kings there seem like they're getting a bit wasted. They're not really coming around to protect the Great Unclean Ones from the Witch Elves either. They're sort of just way out on the right-hand side. So he really needs to get them in because they can potentially do some damage.
Barry, just finger on the pulse, just coming after me. I adore you. Me trying to look young. I'm actually a Kyric acolyte. I'm a 600-year-old man in a regular person's body, and when I die, I'm going to turn back into him. Which was possibly one of my favourite parts of it. So I recently listened to Realm Slayer. It's an amazing audio drama. I'd give it a listen, if just to hear how angry and furious he is at everything and disappointed he is at everything else. It's great.
Yeah, so I think we've lost about 17 Plague Bearers out of that unit. So he's no longer getting the neg 1 to hit in combat buff anymore.
It also means it's a big priority as well.
It does.
Big battle shock as well.
Yeah, big battle shock. He's got a...
I imagine he'd hopefully have a command point spare.
I hope he does. Yeah, at this point in time, it's not really... I wouldn't risk rolling a 1 to get models back. At the moment, he's too vulnerable there.
Yeah.
He really needs to spend a CP.
But the thing is, if he leaves them in combat, like, what are they doing? They're just going to die.
They are going to die, but at the moment they're holding up the game.
Yeah, I guess at least if he can keep them around and retreat out of combat, he can do it. But at the moment, he needs to be thinking about how he pushes back through. If he was dispossessed, his answer would be, I ignore Rend 1, I pass all my armor saves, and I'm great in combat, so my shield wall is a surprise hammer. That's how
nice.
Dispossessed operate, because they're far superior to all of these armies. Unfortunately, a Maggotkin shield wall is just made out of shields and walls. But also, unfortunately, so far his shield wall has acted a bit like the border wall into Mexico, and it has stopped very little.
It has. Yeah. They keep coming over.
It's a fence.
It is.
It was
it's
a
just
wall,
like,
it's now a fence.
Yeah. It's fallen down. The wires aren't there anymore.
That is a good question. How many command points does each player still have? That would be good to know. We'll find that out from the table as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah, so he has actually used the command point to keep those Plague Bearers there. That's, to be honest, I don't think that's too bad of a decision. Because I think he's just trying to hold up the witches, the snake ladies in the middle. Yep. And try and prepare something he can do at the back of his table.
He also does have a nice little gap here. Nope, that's an arrow. He does have a nice little gap here where he could potentially bring this big combat beast in and just absolutely start shit mixing them.
Oh, look, he needs to get them out. They're not the best in combat, but they're not shit at the same time. And the fact that they're going to be within range of each other, so the thrice fold defilement's definitely going to help them out there. So they're going to be re-rolling ones to hit, and they're going to be re-rolling ones to breathe at the moment. So I think at the moment, Jesse's really forcing them. He's going to have to bring them out, try and do some damage, get rid of some of those snake ladies in the centre. But it's hard because at the same time he's got these girls over here applying pressure, so he's stuck in between a bit of a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, he's got, at the moment, it's a bit like he's in space. There's pressure all around him and he's in a suit, but that suit is starting to show some
like
cracks.
He's suffocating.
Yeah,
I just don't want that.
Yeah, I'm stressed for him. And what's going to be remarkable is if he does fight his way out of this, we're in turn 3. So he'll only have 2 turns, which is why when he made that decision to build his castle wall here, he left himself another good, there was probably a good 6 inches further forward he could have been for that shield wall. So he could be in a little bit of trouble. Sippy Tiger asking how do I deal with mortal wounds and how many rune lords. I am a big believer in 2 rune lords is an amazing amount. And personally, I deal with mortal wounds 1 or 2 ways. By ignoring them, because a lot of the magic, either your banners or your rune lords can shut down, or just taking them and not breaking eye contact with my opponent and being cool with it. Because nothing disappoints someone with mortal wounds more than when you just unflinchingly take your own models off the board like you don't even care. I think there's a wonderful saying, which I love, which is like there's no greater insult you can do to your enemy than to be ignored, which is why the dispossessed ignore everyone equally. We don't care what you brought, we're just going to cop it on the chin and be like, yeah, what, that's all you've got? Yeah, things were worse for us before. You think you can punch hard? I got punched by Archaon once and that sucked.
That sucked. And now I'm back. I'm back, bitches. So basically what's happened here from the camera is the Great Unclean One on this side has healed wounds, so he's back down to 5. But unfortunately, his magic has failed, so he has not been able to cast Plague Wind.
Magic and prayers have been really unreliable in this game. They're amazing. Oh, Fluxy. That's savage, and I adore you for it. That was a fantastic. Fluxy's response was that Dispossessed even ignore tournaments, apparently. Which is just, yep, you got me.
Would you like to play Where's Wally?
Yeah, I would like to play Where's Wally. Where is Wally?
Well, in the sea of people.
Yeah. Wait, is he actually photoshopped into this image somewhere?
Oh, please tell me. Hang on a sec.
Are we...
What's that looks...
Have you found... Where is that? Is that him?
That looks like Nathan.
Is he there? Is that him there? Can we confirm? Is that him? Is that him?
Looks like
is
is
he in a beach shack? You found him! Hey! Wow. Okay, that was amazing. Oh no!
I was so confused.
All 4 of us are in there apparently.
I was confused.
Me too. I didn't understand. That's the most amazing thing ever. Okay, so we've located one.
Oh.
We need to do this quick so we can get back to the game.
Oh, God.
We've got one here.
Yes.
There's chat. Also, please help us out.
Yes.
Because funnily enough, I really probably need glasses. Oh, I found Waldo. Waldo's over here, but I don't think he's Wally.
Oh no!
Gosh.
The pressure.
Okay. Fluxy, you're not messing with us. This isn't like when I played a prank in my high school and painted 1, 2, and 4 on a chicken and let them loose. Like, legitimately, we're all in here, right? Okay. We've only found one so far.
What's this?
There we go. There's one. There's 2. We found Rob. Good. Okay, we might go back to the table. We're 2 through so far, and we'll duck back to the table and come back for another little look in just a second. That's ridiculous. I love it. That's great. I've never been trying to find myself in a group of people before. So, by the sounds of things, it's been a relatively unimpressive magic phase for the Maggot Kin. So a few failed spells by the sounds of things?
A few failed spells, but then it was interesting because he got favoured poxes off on the unit of snake ladies in the centre, but then he moved the Grand Unclean One.
Oh no!
So then that spell is actually default.
Oh no, that's an easy slip up to make.
That is an easy slip up to make, and you often do forget that. But I think that sort of reiterates the amount of pressure that Ben's feeling right now.
Yeah.
So he's now moved them around. He's probably looking like he's trying to cover the back board by the looks there a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe leaving one for the witch elves to come into.
Yeah.
But he's trying to get them into a little bit of damage up the front.
And like we were saying before, right? It's all about the tempo. And ultimately, when you play a game of War Dollies, there's a good chance that you'll make a mistake. If you want to just go the odds, there's a chance you'll make a mistake. And it's about how your opponent capitalizes on it and how you deal with the ramifications of it. The problem with Ben being in this position is that he bunkered up, he castled up hard, but it meant that if he made a mistake, it was his opponent's to exploit. And if his opponent made a mistake, they're on the other side of the board. It's like playing footy, right?
Yeah.
You would much rather be on your opponent's line, even because any mistakes are going to punish them a lot harder than they're going to punish you.
That's exactly right.
So it's going to be real tight. I don't think Ben's out of it by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he needs to play smart.
Definitely.
It'll be telling to see whether he goes straight into the combat phase or whether he does something with this 30 block of Plague Bearers, because they're not winning that combat. They're not getting out of it.
They're not winning that combat, but I've just sort of seen that the gap here is quite little. So
the cards are covering a bit of ground as well. So those 3 cards next to there. That's open ground too. So he's probably got a good 6 inches.
He does, yeah. So he's sort of he's going to have to roll real high there, I think. But so Pestilent Breath is being used at the moment.
Oh wow!
So that's exciting.
And to be honest, there's a lot of units, a lot of small units bunkered up in there. They could get a bit of a hiding here.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how far away he is actually, whether he's able to get up to these guys.
Yeah.
Or whether he's really only sort of, these guys over here. 6 inches is a good distance, but it's not. I'm greedy. I'd like it to be a little bit longer.
yeah, definitely. You want a bit more room.
Yeah, like the 12-inch with the stuff.
But if you were to move them with the combination of the bell and a 6-inch run from a command point, they could actually flick around pretty quick.
They can flick around pretty quick. They got to be within 7 inches.
Oh, and it looks like the bell is in that bottom.
It's the bell's down here, so he's not going to be helping those.
But did those? Have we left the movement phase yet, though? That's what or are we still in the hero phase?
Well, Pestilent. We're in the shooting phase because Pestilent.
Oh, we're in the shooting phase.
Yeah.
Okay. I find it interesting that these Black Kings are still here.
I know. I'm just sort of wondering whether he's forgotten about them or not, because I would really be utilising them, because even in the hero phase on 6s they can potentially do D3 mortal wounds. I know it's on 6s, but it's still an opportunity to deal some damage.
I have a feeling that he's planning on using them to clear away this unit of Blood Sisters up the top, or the Blood Stalkers rather.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad plan, but it's going to come in the 4th or 5th turn, which is probably a bit too late.
Yeah, because I feel like he hasn't moved them this turn.
Yeah.
So
I think they have moved. They just probably haven't gone that far. But again, that's because he is bearing the weight of this entire game on his shoulders.
He is, and we've just seen a charge. We have just seen a charge from the Grand Unclean One with the Bile Sword.
Yep.
So let's
and Rodigus.
And Rodigus.
Oh.
So let's see if they can do some mortal wounds.
Oh,
after
that is a party I do not want to be at.
No one does.
No one wants to be at it. That's going to be nasty for those poor Blood Sisters there. I think a combat Great Unclean One and Rodigus combo is not something you want to have on your doorstep.
No, it isn't.
In fact, you don't even want to find it in your outhouse. It's just not a good thing to have at any point in time.
Well, I mean, speak for yourself. I wouldn't mind having a party with those guys. It's one part of Nurgle. So.
Yeah, just you guys and just make it rain, and it's just acid rain. You guys trip hop all through the whole thing.
Just tentacles and stuff flying everywhere.
Now, before we come back and get this combat phase kicked off, we are going to flick over to the man himself with the fantastic smile. I'm about to get lost in his dreamy eyes. It's Dan from AOS Shorts.
Hey guys, very quick update from me, very short update, but some really, really important news from the top 2 tables. So table 1 has been decided. KO, major victory. KO, major victory against Daughters. So you may recall I was talking about bottom of turn 2, the frigate dropped out. 14 Thunderers drop out. Then let's see what the master plan from the German magician was. He drops the Thunderers out. He shoots the witches off the home objective. He then charges the Bloodrack Medusa nearby with cogs, so he gets a long charge off. He then uses the special rules of the Thunderers to retreat out of combat while running with cogs to get to the home objective. Sees it at the bottom of turn 2. Take it. Bam! Gone. Excellent play. With snakes running down his home objective. A master play to take that. I just can't believe it. Table 2. Warherds are looking like they're going to beat Gore Pilgrims. Warherds, I repeat, look like they're going to beat Gore Pilgrims. We are on for a KO Warherds final table. Could you have written this at the start of the weekend? No, you would have been mad. But this is where it's probably going to be. Other stuff is happening on the other tables, but it's nowhere near as interesting as that. That plucky Skullcracker is on table 6, has killed another 10 Reapers, but he looks like he's going down. Table 7, the Legion of Asgore looking like they're going to take a minor against the Dreadwood. Table 3, Nighthorn look like they're going to take a minor against the Winterleaf there. Table 4, Adam's trying to push, but he doesn't look like he's going to get it. So Grand Host and the Gash are probably going to win there. Table 9, Joel with his Beast, 1 priority at the top of 3. So Beasts of Chaos 1 on table 9 as well. So Beasts are doing very well this weekend. They beat the Phoenix Temple. And the Eel Mirror match, the guy with the most eels won. Funny that. So that is the quick update. But the short point, KO and Warherds likely to be table 1 for the final round. You just couldn't make this up. Back to the table, guys.
What is happening? What is going on? What have we done?
I don't know.
KO Warheads? How? Like, legit, we've looked into the Warheads a couple of times and been like, oh, they're cooked. And they're winning. I played Ryan Kirby with that Warheads army last year, and it was a great game, but I stomped him, and I don't know what happened.
Not anymore.
Some kind of brain transplant.
I don't know. I have played him as well. I played him at the Brunax team event, and I did not win. But he has now got even more confident, I think. He's changed his list around since then a little bit.
Yeah.
He's played a lot of games, and look at him go.
He's savaging his way through this tournament.
He is just bloody running across.
Look, Swift Hawk Agents have done well. Beasts have done well. KO have done well.
What is happening?
LLV, you are cooked, mate. Wherever you are, put a fork in you because you're done. This is going to be insane. So we will bring you a quick update back on the table. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff that's obviously just gone into the combat. You can see there are a few of those sisters missing from where they used to be. I'm sorry, I'm distracted.
I know you're distracted.
Dwarden in the final.
You're just like pinging in your chair.
It's like I've just like snorted a whole bunch of espresso. I can't think. I'm like, this is the best thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, you're just so excited. You look like you're going to run off to that table.
I just want to go hug all of those dwarves. Every one of his models, I want to give it a little
Just give a little pat on the head. Well done, boys.
Yeah. Okay. Game mode. I'm just going to slap myself back into this.
The Grey Knight ones have gone into combat.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they did some mortal wounds on their charging as well, and I do see that some of them are missing, so that's very helpful. I don't think it's taken all the pressure off Ben, but it certainly has helped him try and push his way through the centre. Although if he does kill those guys, I'm not sure where he's going to go because they're not going to fit past that tree. So I think he's still going to be able to have to bulk stay there.
Well, he could move them forward. Move them forward to summon maybe another tree, to summon more plague bearers onto the home.
He's got some decisions to make because he can either do that or he's going to, depending on what these guys do, if he does get rid of them, they can always come over here and try and get rid of them as well. So he's got a task ahead of him anyway.
Okay, now I just want to ask a question because I don't know Nurgle, but I just want to know if this would be possible. From this tree here, could Ben potentially summon one of the small heralds of Nurgle out the back and then summon another unit from there? Is that doable in a single turn?
Not a single turn, no.
Not a single turn.
Not that I haven't ever seen anyone use that. But actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he could do that. I don't think I've read anywhere in the rules that that's not possible.
He would need to do
That's
that.
super sneaky, but I don't think he's going to have enough contagion
He would need
points.
to kill these two characters here, because at the moment you would have to summon 9 inches away from them,
Yeah.
which would be ridiculous. It'd be out here somewhere.
Yeah, I just don't think he's going to have enough contagion points to do that though, because that tree's been surrounded for most of the game, and he's stuck on his side of the board. So I don't think he's going to have enough.
Yeah, so
He's going to need about 21 points. So
he's going to need a lot of points,
Yeah,
right? You are 100% right. I feel like I've been doing lines of Ether Gold. My brain is sparkly. I'm just stoked that a Dwarden player is in the final. That is just amazing news.
I'm just like, that is amazing what's happened over there.
Incredible.
Like,
And thank goodness we have the robot to tell us.
Yeah.
Now, because Rodriguez has left, just in case you can't see it, we're just swapping out that bottom objective. It's right there. X marks the spot of where you want to be.
Yes.
So Flixie asking who's the Beast of Chaos player. It is Ryan Kirby. Ryan Kirby is the Beasts player. And also the loveliest bloke, the gentle giant, big cheesy grin on his face. I walked past his game. He played Daughters of Cain in the last round, and I walked past his game, and he looked really bashful. And I just made eye contact with him, and he was like, I think it's going well. Because last night he was not confident whatsoever. When the pairings went up, he thought he was cooked. So it's interesting to see how well he's doing.
It is awesome.
All right, so back to
Congratulations.
the combat that we've got going on.
So I'm pretty sure the Great Unclean one with the massive bile sword has taken a fair few wounds as well. I think he's up around 10. He's up around 10 wounds.
Oh, wow.
So it'll be interesting to see how well Ben rolls in the Battle Shock phase.
Yeah, and if he doesn't kill him outright, how many are going to heal?
So I hope he has some Nurgle luck and he rolls all 10 fours, because then he'll heal all of those.
Yeah, that's it.
If they were from this turn, which they
Well,
would
you
be.
know what he can do to avoid that? Just kill him outright. Yeah, try growing back some limbs when you're dead.
When you're dead,
Yeah.
take him off the table.
That's it. Take it off.
Yeah.
You know what? Slane Ice, you're probably right. They're dispossessed in disguise. That's why those overlords are doing so well. But that cheeky charge, retreat, slingshot is a wonderful move. It's very clever.
He's obviously a very well established player.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's not. He didn't come here to root spiders.
No, he did not.
No.
And he wouldn't be up on those tables.
He's also the Terminator as
Yeah,
well.
yes.
He's just got this steely gaze. He's computing the game and takes you apart methodically like a robot. It's like watching a
He's
dissection.
in the zone.
Yeah.
He's in the zone. Well and truly. So they're rolling some dice. What's going on here?
Yeah. Okay, and the chat. If we could just ease up on me with the fact that dispossessed aren't here. I get it. Okay, I get that dispossessed aren't here. But it just every second word is like you'll never see dispossessed and overlords in the same place. They must be the same person. You know what? Go. The Legion of Asgore armies fought each other and they tied, which means you're not even good enough to beat yourself. Didn't lose. Schmidn't lose.
So that was the combat happening on the right-hand side of the table. So you got your the sisters with the bows, and the plague bearers would just have at it.
Yeah, the sisters, I'm assuming, are just there solely for the purpose of locking them in combat.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's silly that they're locked. They're still there. They should have gotten out.
They should have retreated.
Yeah, Kachev saying, predicting 1 billion KO players coming back onto the scene. I honestly think that if you're out there, if you've thought about playing KO, it is a wonderful time to do it. Because there is so much variety in that book. There is so much to find. And I would say that your best bet is like go in there with no preconceived ideas. Just look at that book and see what you can make that fits your style, and not just the style of KO that everyone wanted to play back in the day.
I think shooting's just going to make a comeback in general, to be honest.
I think, and not the old style of shooting, which was annihilate the heroes, do this, or snipe characters out from the back. I think tactical shooting, especially now that objectives are about bodies on boards, I think,
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more tactical. So the big Great Unclean one with the sword, the Plague Flail and the sword is attacking.
Yep.
So we'll see if he can pump out some damage.
But he's taken 10 wounds.
He
He's
has,
going to be like on one of his bottom tiers, right?
He's getting very close to the bottom tier, yeah. I think he's going to take 12 or 13 to be on the bottom tier. But it's
he's
so he's only done 4 wounds.
Oh, wow.
It is hard sometimes with that bile sword because you've got to catch 22. He hits on 4s, but he does 3 damage, so it's very tempting, but you've got to try and get those 4s through.
Yeah. I'm all for Slippy Tiger. I'm all for being a hobby hipster. And as soon as something becomes popular, either say you were into it before you were popular, or immediately stop playing it and take up a different allegiance. Just hobby hipstering is wonderful. You get this false sense of superiority. You get to drink half skin.
You get badges.
Yeah,
You're like, I'm just going to play that so I can
sweet.
get the badge.
You iron a bunch of patches onto like an old jacket that you bought from Vinnie's,
Like a thrift shop?
Yeah, thrift shop. And then you drink nothing but half-strength skinny mocha lattes. And not if you like a half-strength skinny mocha latte, that's fine. It is the official drink of the hobby hipster.
So this dice roll is very important. So
Priority?
This is him rolling to see how many wounds he can heal back. So he gets 5 out of 10.
So he's
back down to 5 wounds.
Back down to 5. That's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, definitely for Jesse, because you do put a lot of damage in. You're losing models, and then that guy can potentially
I don't
heal.
think he'd been wounded before, so potentially if he can do another 10 wounds this turn, maybe he'll tickle him back down to a more reasonable level.
Nurgle wins the priority as well.
Wow, Nurgle wins priority. Now, here's the thing though. I don't know if I would want to take it if I was Nurgle.
He looks like he is.
It looks like he is. It looks like he's taking. Although he's only rotated the wheel, and the wheel ability happens before the start of the turn phase, doesn't it?
Yeah. So it depends on what's written on the wheel. Some of them actually say at the start of the hero phase. So you do turn it at the start of every battle round, and then you just see what it says. So he looks like he's doing his healing. So he's actually, what he's doing now is that wheel's gone to corrupted regrowth, so that's on your healing. So all Nurgle units will heal D3, and then the fatties also heal D3 in the hero phase as well. So he's actually healing.
So all that work on that
so he's only taken, I think, one wound at the moment. So
he's effectively healed 9 wounds.
He has.
In a space of seconds.
Yeah, he's only taken 1 wound.
We're just hearing from the table that effectively all of these great unclean ones are pretty much back up to full strength.
They're pretty much, because even the guy with the bell's only taken 1 wound now.
Wow.
So he's doing well.
That's, I mean, look, that was going to happen no matter what the priority roll was. It's just rough to see that much.
I think he's actually seeing whether the snake ladies are taking a mortal wound from the tree.
Oh, wow. Yeah, true. They're in range.
And I think they did.
So I guess the question is, has he chosen to give it or take it? I actually think he's tough because in this position, I'd almost want to give the turn away and force my opponent to cop a bunch of hits from my great unclean ones in combat, and then move forward. However, that big block that you see just off to the left over here, that big block of 2 tens of witches, you can't let that get around because they will mince this great unclean one. He's not a combat, he's a support character.
He's not. He's a support character. He's in quite a vulnerable position.
So I guess he almost has to take the turn, but I don't see how he deals with this unit. My guess would be that all you could do would be to potentially almost go on the offense with this character and charge around.
Yes, it's a big risk because I'm pretty sure you're going to hold them up from coming around to your objective, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
But you're sacrificing your better caster and part of the thrice fall. But you've got to make these decisions.
There is only 2 turns left in the game, though. So even if he has to make that sacrifice, but holds them up so that they're so far away they can't get on this objective here, I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
If he leaves them a gap, they'll be fast enough to move, potentially a big run too, because their daughters, I think they'll be re-rolling rolls of 1 at this point in time. It'd be worrying.
So I'm pretty sure Rodigus did his own mortal wounds in the hero phase then as well. So he's got a 6-inch bubble, and he does mortal wounds in that. And Plague Wind looked like it just got dispelled to me then as well. So that's pretty crushing.
Not been successful. A little bit surprised that Jesse still hasn't dispelled the spell portal. So we still have the Nurgle spell portal here. And I believe the other end of it is here, still within range of Rodigus. So the reason, I just think leaving it there gives Ben an option. And dispelling it effectively means that it's one more spell that he has to cast. Now I know the Maelstrom is also in play, but if I was Jesse, I'd probably be looking at getting rid of it. Although maybe he doesn't have any casters. Oh no, he does. He does have the Slaughter Queen. The Bloodrack Shrine, which could be dispelling.
Yeah. So he cannot move the wheel either because that was dispelled. So he's actually that wheel's not going to be able to do anything for him this turn.
Right.
Other than already healing, it is now sort of obsolete.
But to be honest, I think it's done enough.
That was a good turn of healing there with those guys.
Yeah.
So he's also got favoured poxes off, and he's cast that onto the unit of snakes. So that he's pretty chummy at the moment. So if he stays there, these guys here are going to be neg 1 to hit, or it depends on which unit he casts it on, but they're going to be neg 1 to hit, neg 1 to wound, neg 1 to their save. So hopefully they can get through them.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see a big swing from these Great Unclean ones. And now they're re-rolling ones to hit as well, aren't they?
Those guys, yeah. So they're within 7. At the moment, I don't know what the gap is between here and here.
Yeah.
But these guys here should be re-rolling hit rolls.
See, that's really important because of the Temple Nest that Jesse has taken. Any rolls of a 1 to hit are a mortal wound back. So the fact that they're re-rolling the ones just takes that, really lowers that. Now we've just seen a number of daughters get taken off the table to mortal wounds.
Deluge went off. I love it when Deluge goes off.
Gosh. And he can hit a unit more than once with that, can't he? Or does it have to be each unit once?
No, he can't hit a unit more than once.
Right.
But he has done, I think one of the Hag Queens has only got 1 wound left.
Good.
And as you can see, one of the Snake Ladies from in the centre here has gone, so they suffered a mortal wound from that as well.
Yep.
So Deluge is doing its job there.
Yeah, we're now starting to see this Nurgle push. So I think this is going to be, it looks like the Nurgle Bastion might be able to hold out. It's going to come down to how well the Slaughter Queen, the Bloodrack Shrine, and these 20 witches here can do to push through onto this objective.
Yeah. I have some good news.
Oh, yeah?
I have some very exciting news. That Hag Queen has been taken down.
Oh, yes. In the chat, obviously, we love it when a Hag Queen dies. They are single-handedly the villain of Age of Sigmar. I love seeing a Hag Queen die.
Yeah. I'm glad. I'm actually glad. I'm almost as excited about this as what you were about the Halo.
Hey, bag the hags.
It just brings so much joy to my life.
Yep.
So Arcane Bolt just picked you off the table.
Yeah.
Just
zapped. Good.
Yep.
That's what
Get
we
out.
love to see.
Get out of here, you.
Nuke him.
Yeah.
So, do you reckon Ben has a way to turn this into a major victory if he busts out? Because he's busted out of the cage. Because he's taken a lot of those Daughters models off.
Yep. He's opened up the centre a little bit, so now hopefully he's got some options with where he wants to go.
He still doesn't have a lot of options for summoning.
Summonings, look, that's not probably going to be on my mind at the moment.
Yeah.
I just want to see what's going, I really want to see what he's going to do about these guys over here.
Do you think he's maybe playing for the minor?
At this point, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Which is...
Because in an army like this with a Thricefold Befoulment, you pretty much can guarantee that your opponent won't get you on kill points unless they kill 3 Great Unclean ones.
That's right. There's a lot of points tied up in those 3.
Right now it is the Nurgle player's turn, Ben, with the Maggotkin. It's his turn, which we're at the top of round 4. We're at the top of battle round 4, playing Knife to the Heart. Gemma, did you notice that the chat is freaking stoked with you?
No, I haven't read much of that at the moment, but thank you so much to all the support on there. You guys are just beautiful people. And is it Slanice? I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but I haven't done any, a very small amount of live coverage. This is my first time at commentating a game.
Yeah, and you're killing it.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody.
Rob, well, you didn't come here to root spikes.
No, I was here for business.
Yeah, that's it. You came here to work.
Yes. Stay.
Yeah, that's it. And what better game to have you call than another one?
I was just stoked when this was happening.
Something close to your heart.
Yep.
So we've got, I think we've moved on to the combat phase, which is going to be unfortunate because I think a lot of these, we're going to see a lot of the Daughters go. I still think though there's a little bit of a problem that Ben hasn't done anything to deal or delay this unit. He's blocked the gap down here with this big Great Unclean One, but I still think that it's close enough to his objective where if these daughters kill this Great Unclean One and then win priority, there are only 5 Blight Kings holding the home objective. So they could potentially push right through, use both the Great Unclean One and then the Blight Kings as a slingshot and take this game in turn 5.
Yeah, that definitely can happen. I'm a bit scared about that, to be honest, because I'm reading the table going, that can't happen. I'm hoping this guy here, he rolls well with his saves, or he doesn't do a lot of damage. Unfortunately, it's only 1 damage with what he has.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping he can just be a nuisance and just hold these guys up. Just hold them up and just hopefully win a minor. So this guy here, unfortunately, was a bit slack.
Yeah.
And he only killed 1 snake lady there.
Yeah, right.
So there's still 1 there, which is a bit of pain.
Because there's nothing in range of it. Nothing else can pile in to get within range.
No, that's exactly right. So he's stuck there for now. He's really not going to be able to do that much. So that's a bit painful for Ben, but we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I really think that the move here should have been to bring this Great Unclean One, swing around with it, and bring it up into the game up here. Now, I know that means you probably lose the Great Unclean One a turn earlier than expected, but it also means that these units don't have a slingshot to fling their way around to the objective.
I actually did that in one of my games in December at Masters. So when I was playing Adam Burt, I actually sacrificed Rodigus to a unit of Evocators.
So now we have the man himself. So this combat phase, we're just going to go over and take a quick look to get a better idea of the table. And while we have a peek at it, the man himself, he's bringing you, it's 2 gorgeous humans in fantastic shirts. Here they are, the man, Dan from AOS Shorts.
Hey guys, I'm just here with a quick interview with Joel McGrath of Measured Gaming. Joel's been smashing it up this weekend in a delightful outfit here. How's your weekend going, Joel?
It's going awesome, mate. You know, so much fun. Cancon's a lovely place. And, 4-1 at the moment, which is even better.
Yeah, it's a great result. Like, how many Cancons is this for you? Is this your 3rd?
This is my 2nd. So, never made it to the first one. But, went 4-1 last year and looking to go 5-1 this year.
Yeah, and you're a loud and proud representative of Measured Gaming. Yeah. So tell us about Measured Gaming.
Yeah, so Measured Gaming is a group in Bendigo. And, there's, 15 of us here, all playing games, all dressed up like this in Hawaiian shirts. So, yeah.
Yeah, and how's it going? How are you as a group going across the weekend?
Yeah, it was a bit of a slog yesterday. We all had a bit sore heads and all that sort of.
You're all at a campsite, right?
Yeah. So we're all camping. The thunderstorms came in last night, so all that shit just got blown everywhere. And
Also battling against adversity, the elements, thunder, lightning, self-inflicted booze.
Yeah, that's it. I slept in a wet bed last night, so it's good fun.
And so how's day 2 going for you? You've just had another win on round 5?
Yeah. So have got 2 majors today. So it puts me up to 4-1. And I played Phoenix Temple first time, awesome. And then played against the Gore Pilgrim's Army as well earlier today. So
So tell us a bit about the Beast of Chaos list you're running, because you're a big Beast fan yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Love the Beasts. So my list is Gave Spawn. It's got the Desolating Beast Herd Battalion. The Beast Lord is awesome. 3 Shamans, 30 Bestigor, 30 Ungor, 60 Ungor Raiders, 10 Gores, 6 Bulgors, and the Bull, the Flaming Bull. And
so is the army performing as you thought it would over the weekend?
Oh, for sure, yeah. People just can't handle the amount of bodies. Like, there's 140 models on the table. It's just insane. And it's just slugging away in that grind fest and just coming across and winning, really. Yeah.
Is there any particular matchups you don't want for the final round?
Death. I've managed to avoid them so far, but like Grimghast scare the shit out of me, so.
Everybody doesn't like Reapers. Reapers are definitely the baddies of the weekend. We just like seeing them die.
Yeah, we do. We really do. We hate Grimghast Reapers, so.
Yeah, well, now, having had a win on table 9 in round 5, you would have been doing well for Best Beast, but there's a cheeky Warherd list on table 2.
That excites me so much because I love my Warherd models. They were actually the first sort of part of the Beast which I collected back in the day when I got them. So, yeah, really excited for him. I hope I come out on top of him, though.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's going to be a hotly contested battle for Best Beast at Cancon. It's been great hearing from you. Wish you guys the best of luck.
Thanks, mate.
All the best for Measured Gaming, and we'll go back to the tabletop now.
And we are back on the table. Look, just quickly, we just want to throw back into the chat for a second. Zyko 888, mate, that had us cacking our guts up at the desk.
Yes,
that was
funny.
great. That was perfect. Gemma, you got a quick shout out?
I do. I just want to thank David Maidman, local Brisbane fella. Thank you so much today for watching and shouting out on there. That's really appreciated. Well done.
Yeah, legend. And that's kind of the awesome thing. The Australian community, we've got so many legends. If you're out there overseas and wanting to come to an event, please get in. Yeah, I want to see you guys come out here. We'll help out. We'll
Yes.
find you a place to stay or a trip or, I don't know, a box to sleep in. We'll make something work.
A drink. We'll show you a drink.
Yeah, mate, we'll buy you a beer.
Get amongst it.
Now, we're back on the table. The buffs have all gone onto the Hag Queen on Cauldron up here. All of these, that's an arrow, that's an arrow. All of the buffs have gone onto this Hag Queen, so I think the plan is to smash her into this Great Unclean One. Now, the Great Unclean One healed it back up to 1 wound
One
taken
wound.
again.
Yeah, but
That's
she's pretty
just-
dangerous though, especially
Yeah.
being buffed up like that.
Now, I think it's interesting that he chose to go there instead of putting some of the buffs on these witches down here, because I actually think that this down here is the game-winning unit. If
I
he's going to
agree.
win it, it's coming out of those two.
That is a lot of dangerous women in one area.
Yeah, it's like being at ladies' night at a pub in Toowoomba, I imagine.
Yeah, well, you got to watch out.
You got to be careful,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's a dangerous place, and they don't take no guff.
No, they don't.
No guff
They're
will be
dangerous.
taken.
They're dangerous. They're out.
A quick shout out as well, just in case you have noticed how baller the terrain looks. It's absolutely spectacular. The terrain's also been changed up every round too, so that we have matching terrain for each of our realms. Travis, the man himself, has been responsible. Check him out on Twitter at Thonius83, THONIAS83. He does some spectacular work, and he's doing like a day of hobby, like updating his hobby every day. It's really awesome. Okay. Oh wow! It looks like on
This
the
game
table.
has changed.
This has
This
just
game
changed around.
has changed.
Instead of taking what we thought to be the path of least resistance
Yeah.
and going down through the weakest of the Great Unclean Ones to
Yep.
push onto the objective, he's decided to go up. I think that's going to be a huge mistake. I think he's just
I'm
given away.
I'm wondering whether he's not playing for a major. I'm wondering whether he's trying to get some points.
See, I
but
think-
I don't think that was the right Great Unclean one to
No,
go for.
I think he has actually probably just traded
Because-
what could have been a major victory in turn 5 for
Yeah.
a minor loss.
If you're going to go for a major and try and get that objective, you should have went down that
Yeah.
left side.
I mean, he very smartly has pulled this
These
unit
guys back.
here to make sure that no one can do anything on it. He's got the Blood Sisters, Blood Stalkers there, and for some reason she's moved back into here as well. Instead of maybe he realised that she couldn't fit through that gap.
Through there. I was concerned about that before. So he's probably going to drill those plague bearers with her.
I
So.
think that this is quite a mistake.
So he just rolled a massive charge by the look. I think he needed
Wow.
a 10 and he
This-
rolled
this-
a 10.
The tables, it's hotting up. It's going to be really interesting, but we're going to go.
so close.
We're going to go to the man with the plan again, Dan, and then we'll be right back on the table because this is obviously a really key combat phase.
Okay, guys, just got a very quick interview with you. I'm joined with Simon Hall here. Simon has been running Spiderfang at his first ever Age of Sigmar tournament, and he's gone 4-1. It's going well, mate.
It's going very well so far. Yeah.
Yep. So, how are you finding your first Age of Sigmar tournament?
Good. Enlightening. Yeah, I'm a recent convert from War Machine, and the system here kind of works similarly to the system there. So it's been a little bit of a hurdle getting over the rules, even though they're pretty simple. There's still quite a few of them, but it's been good.
I was going to say, how have you found the learning curve and coming into the new system?
Yeah, I found that if you learn what your stuff does, you just learn what your opponent's stuff does on the fly, and you're usually pretty good.
Yeah, that's the age-old adage of know thyself before knowing thy enemy, and you'll be good.
Yep.
Any similarities or techniques that you've brought across from War Machine to AOS?
So one of the things that I've noticed for guys playing here, there are a lot of guys that don't seem to focus on scenario as much as we obviously do in the other game because it's pivotal. I think it's even more important in Age of Sigmar. So that's the only thing that I've noticed is that scenario play is the most important thing in this game. You can lose your entire army, which I have in 2 rounds, and you still win the game.
Yeah, it seems to be a common thing for the Spider-Fang armies to lose their entire army, don't do much but win the objectives.
Yeah. It's all Spider-Fang seem to be all about the alpha, is what I've learned from this weekend. And when I've got a unit of 25 Spider Riders with all the buffs on them, they're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Well, best of luck. Thank you very much for coming and joining us. Best of luck for the final round.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys. We'll go back to the table now.
Okay, so really quickly we'll catch you up because obviously this game is getting down to the pointy end. It's real tight. Cancon 2019, we're in round 5. This is the top table. Daughters of Cain versus Maggotkin of Nurdle. We are in the Daughters' 4th turn, which is the bottom of the round. Just to brief you on this amazing game, so far we had the Maggotkin create this massive shield wall that got absolutely smashed by the Daughters, but then managed through a war of attrition to grind them back using those great unclean ones. And now Jesse in his turn has thrown the Daughters into combat with the Plague Bearers. I believe his plan is to clear out Plague Bearers and ignore the great unclean ones, and hopefully, I'm guessing, create a gap that he can run through right here. I think he's hoping that to make a gap from these Plague Bearers where he might be able to fit through, which he might have just done. Now the problem is that maybe he didn't expect it to work and was also hedging his bets to protect against the Major. He moved this unit back here and that unit up to there.
Yeah. It has been successful in removing the Plague Bearers by the looks. They're no longer there.
Yeah.
So that's pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
It depends who wins the next priority. It's a big game.
If he wins the priority, he can move forward. He can move forward onto here and potentially throw a charge out at those Blight Kings. Then there's only 5 Blight Kings between him and victory, which
right.
is
and
where I think
there's 10 of them, 5 of them, so he's already outnumbering.
Which I think he doesn't even necessarily need to get in combat if he can get within 6 inches.
He just needs to have more models within 6. He has bubbled up quite nicely around there. I'm just not sure about there's some trees there, so we'll see how he goes.
Also he's got a much smaller area to get through. I think that he should have brought both units around here and potentially had 2 units coming through onto this objective here.
Just securing it. Basically just to secure that objective.
Especially when it's about bodies on the objective, he should have taken a few more. We'll find out from the table, so how many command points the players still have in their pool. I think that they've been using them to pass battle shocks, so I'm guessing that there aren't that many left. And I'm just hearing from the table as well, Jesse is very concerned with that summoning, which is why he's pulled so much back into a defensive kind of area, because the last thing he wants is for a cheeky turn 5 double summon, where he pops maybe 1 Herald onto the objective and claims it. I think the
Nurgle player has 1 command point, and the other...
so Nathan just updating us, Nurgle having 1 command point.
Yep. And Jesse has plenty, he said. So he has a lot up his sleeve.
Jesse is making it rain command points.
He is. So he's got stuff there if he needs it. So that's pretty dangerous as well.
Slant Ice realizing that we have missed some amazing pun opportunities. Technically, all of these Daughters of Cain are Jesse's girls.
Oh, that's so good.
I'm disappointed in myself.
Oh yeah, I have to say, I'm not really the pun person, but that was the easy one.
Yeah, that was great. You know what? Every now and then one just goes through to the keeper and you miss it, and I'm embarrassed because that one would have been right on the stumps. That's it. Just take your arm, give yourself a pat on the back. You've earned it.
I'll give you just a high five over the internet.
Yeah. Slap the camera a couple of times. Yeah, there we go. So it looks like that Queen on the Cauldron of Blood is going to take off a few Plague Bearers, but really, this is not the combat that I would personally not have charged. I wouldn't be wasting time with dice on that combat. I would just be focusing.
The centre is where we need to focus. It's getting to the end of the game, really. We've only got 1 turn left.
I think there's only a few minutes left in the round as well, so it'll be interesting to see if they can squeeze in a turn 5. Because, as you know, time management is a huge part. The Nurgle with a lot of saves, the Daughters of Cain with a lot of attacks. They've been rolling a lot of dice this game, so it does slow it down a little bit.
So he's removing some Plague Bearers from that combat.
How much time is left? I don't know. From where we are, we can't see the clock table. I think it might be 10 minutes.
Maybe 20 if we're lucky.
We'll see. See how we're going.
14 from that.
So he has lost 14 Plague Bearers from that combat.
Yep.
over here.
I wonder if they're still within 6 inches of Rodigus or 12 inches of the commander with the bile sword. I assume they are.
I reckon they are. If
To
he
auto
is,
pass that battle shot.
yeah, definitely. I would say that there's 12 inches.
Who wins? And there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, they just rolled up 5th turn priority. And it went to Nurgle.
Ooh, baby.
So I think that might be the game. I reckon Jesse's one shot is one opportunity was to try and pull through onto this objective here. But as it stands with Nurgle winning priority, that means they're going to easily be able to shore up any little gap along here that they would have filled out, and along here I would just personally retreat all of these big boys back and make it impossible for anyone to get onto it. That's pretty much, I think, the game done.
Yeah.
So I we'll see how it rolls out, but I don't think that they're going to be able to claw it back from this point.
No, they're definitely going to be playing for a minor.
Yeah,
so it's just going to be whoever has killed the most points.
Look, he made a gap, he made the hole, he gave himself a chance. It was really unfortunate that when it came down to it, the dice gods weren't in his favour.
No, they weren't.
Priority just pulled back around and went not the right way for him.
He does have 2 inches extra movement at the moment as well with the wheel, so he has got a little bit extra room to move.
He's got the movement.
We are now live with great switch there. The robot has had a major glitch. Sorry, glitch is all on my fault. Glitch is all on my glitch. Gremlins all over the place. Okay, so I am here with David Broom. This is your first Age of Sigmar tournament.
First tournament, yes.
Great tournament to be at for your first one, and you are running Bone Splitters. Tell us about your list.
So Bone Splitters I got into because of Mordheim way back in the day. Yep. And I read the book, first book I read, and it was 10 War Scrolls. I'm like, oh, at least I can learn the game with this. Nice and simple. When you read it, what you see is the Teeth Ruck is obviously very powerful. But coming from 40k world, where points used to be in the back of the book, I didn't understand how that worked, and they said it's going to be nerfed during General's Handbook, and it's also not that very interactive to play with 90 arrow boys rolling a ton of dice. And I said, what else is good? So I went with the Maw boys with Death Fried, and I did that on a Bloodthirster today. Both Maw boys died, and the Big Stabbers, and the Big Stabbers just are fun.
Yeah, and you're for the people at home, you're taking 12 Big Stabbers. That's a lot of stabbing action.
Yeah, Stabbers with the Teeth Ruck, so took down a Bloodthirster in my hero phase with the Wergog Prophet attacking, and also the Teeth Ruck with a pile in 6. So they go down real quick, 3 wounds plus D3 against monsters, so they're just monster culling. I've killed Rodigus, I've killed 3 Bloodthirsters last game, I've taken down a Prime, I've taken down anything I can get my hands on. Those Stabbers just seem to be popping heads.
Yeah, those are the stories you want to hear. You want to hear that damage that those Stabbers that are doing. And it just seems like you're having a great first event.
Great time. Absolute great time. First event, definitely coming back to Cancon. Feel a bit of a local. I used to live down here for 6 years, so fit into the climate pretty easy. I think a few people are struggling. Yeah. A few floppy hairs.
I'm sure. Well, no, it's great to hear. Great to hear that you've had such a good first tournament and that the Big Stabbers and the Teeth Ruck are just doing so well. So thank you very much for your time, David. We're going to go back to the table now and see how they're getting on. Cheers, guys.
And we're actually back this time. Sorry, we had a little programming glitch there. We were streaming, we were torrenting some stuff. I think we pulled in a couple of viruses into Dan's software, which is why we had the little double shuffle there, which is why that happened. So you've just seen a few candid moments and behind the scenes, but we are back to the table now. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody.
Call the Glory 2019.
Yep.
We're at pretty much, it's all over bar the shouting here in round 5. Knife to the heart. It very much looks like, barring a miracle, it's going to be a minor victory to Ben with his maggot kin.
That puts a smile on my face. No one can see it, but I'm actually smiling.
You're grinning just like a victim of grandfather's joy.
Yes. I see he has retreated those Plague Bearers back from combat.
Yep.
So he's brought them down.
The Plague Bearers have pulled out of this combat to lock up onto the objective. He's closed all of the gaps up here with them. He's just made sure that there's no room for anyone to sneak up onto that objective. And I think that
he's just securing his position, basically.
He's one priority, and he'll be able to use that to make sure that nothing the Daughters can do to sneak in. which it was a good one. Yeah, the great yes.
How many twists and
100%
turns?
right. The great unclean ones have formed a conga line to celebrate.
Doing a victory
They've got
dance.
their arms on each other's shoulders. They're doing, and every time they kick, there's like all this acid sprays
Oh,
onto the poor
beautiful.
daughters.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah. So
So
that's
he's taking some more models off.
yeah, that's
yeah.
and that really would have been the only unit capable of getting this. I mean, let's say something ridiculous happens, and somehow Jesse manages to charge this model down here and kill everything. with
Everything.
it. Maybe there is a chance, but I think it's quite an outside one. Though, did take off 17 Plague Bearers last
It did.
turn.
It
So-
is capable of doing a lot of damage.
and I don't think there's anything within 6 inches here to use Inspiring Presence. So potentially could get the charge, kill them all, and make them run.
Yeah, so the only thing is, would be interesting to see the distance between this guy and here,
Yeah.
because he could be doing the Wither Starve action
But
and making this guy re-roll. But I
Potentially,
think he
maybe-
might be a bit out of range, I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But that would have been an icing on the cake there if he could just make that
Yeah.
guy re-roll.
But again, look, I think he's very much playing for the minor loss and chasing the kill points, because rather than coming into this point in here where he could have hit both the Blight Kings and the Blight Kings, which are here, and the Plague Bearers are here, potentially kill them all and take it, he has stayed outside.
Yeah.
And I think that's because he's just going for the points. He's
So,
staying outside of Wither Starve.
I'm pretty sure they're doing a friendly thing there, so I'm pretty sure Ben just measured up the Wither Starve distance,
Yeah.
and he was in range,
Just
so
pushed
then
it out.
Jesse's just pushed it out a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, I think this game is pretty much all over. With that charge, we can see that he's not going for the objective. He's just going to slap around those poor Plague Bearers. So we might come back to us on the desk. It's been an awesome game, but safe to say that's going to be a big win for them. So that is it. That's the end. Thank you so much for joining us. Round 5. Round 6 coming up.
coming up, yeah.
Yeah.
It feels odd saying that. Like
Yeah.
6 rounds.
Round 6. I'm pumped.
Oh.
KO. Beats the
Oh my
Chaos.
god, who it is? Oh, damn.
Thricefold Befoulment.
Yeah.
So far, I don't know who's the 4th that's going to be joining at the top of the tables, but that's spectacular.
Ooh, I'm excited. I really
Yeah.
want to know. I really
Yeah,
want to know. I can't
yeah.
wait. It's like I can't wait.
Chat, I hope you've had an awesome time. Please give Gemma just all the love that you can, because she's spectacular.
Thank you so much
Uh,
for having me on, guys.
And we'll see you again real soon. Catch you in a little bit.